Go live, go live. We go live, go live, go live. Who's ready to go live? How about just me? Okay, just me. Now the me. That's my joke. That's the one joke you get. I'm going to make one joke today and that's it. You missed it. And you missed it. And you missed it. Everybody missed my joke. Hi, Space Bakery. How you doing? Welcome back to the stream. Boy, it's been a while. Let's finish up these stupid pumpkins. Holy cow, these pumpkins. Been taking forever. Hey guys. Happy Choo Choo Tuesday from Wan Games. Who wants a millionaire? Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I have one more pill left from my painkiller. I better put that away in case like a mouse finds it. Hi there, Tidy Wire. I am working on a game called Trick or Treat, which is an idea I came up with a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, that DD and I have been working on for quite a while. I'm glad you got to come by. I'm going to do some more work. You can come by as often as you like and watch me do some more. Mina might appreciate it. She seems to get beaten up a lot. But I assume that the flask she drinks probably takes care of that. She can pop one out when she gets a headache. Yeah, I've considered doing horror games. I think you could argue that Trick or Treat is a horror game. I'm gonna make it very aesthetically horrific. But probably by strict definition, it's an action game, because you can shoot and kill things. And usually, the ability to vanquish your foes takes a bit away from a horror theme. But because there are skeletons and ghosts in it, it might still count. But I will be trying to do things that are scary with it. I just don't know necessarily if it will actually be scary to people. I've always felt like I wanted to be scary. I want to be able to scare people, but I've never felt like I'm able to do it on purpose. I can do it on accident. Just by being myself, I scare people. But in terms of like me wanting to actually do something with art that can scare people, I feel kind of unsuccessful. So we'll see. At least because it is pretty primarily an action game, it's not a huge deal if my stuff is not scary. Whereas if I were making a horror game, like a survival horror game or something, then that could be a problem. Hey Frank, what's going on down there? Yeah, I'm going very cartoony with it. And so there's like an element of humor as well. But I would like it. I would, excuse me, I would be happy if I could actually scare some people. I think most of it is going to come through gameplay. Mina is a good example, since we just mentioned Mina. Mina is a really good example of how game mechanics can make you feel scared. By just reminding you of, like, peril and threat. Because you're projecting into the game world. It tends to make perilous situations feel very genuinely dangerous. And so that kind of thing might be able to happen at the very least. But I would hope that also the ideas that I want to explore will also be, like, horrific. Yeah, that's why I'm saying there's a little bit of play between the genres. It could maybe count as a horror game. It's going to be up to how people feel about it when it's done. How's it going? Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. I've been kind of avoiding all the World Cup stuff. We had multiple conversations here in this stream where people were talking about, like, wanting to follow the World Cup but feeling, like, weird because of the political affiliations. And yeah, like, it makes sense why that's been part of the narrative this summer. So I'm sorry, Frank. It's very strange that this is the world we live in now. I was thinking about that earlier today. I was out doing errands and I was thinking about, like, how nutso things feel, and that it would have been, like, pretty unbelievable if you tried to describe the state of things to somebody back in the 90s. I'm very used to comparing modern life to life in the 90s. I've been making that comparison for, like, a good long while. But the difference continues to get, like, wider and wider as time goes on. Yeah, that seems to be what they were saying, Sink Drinker. Somebody should do an update or, like, a reboot to Idiocracy. Because there are a lot of points about it that are pretty cogent. But it's the central premise of the movie that doesn't work for me. That, like, it's a result of breeding. As opposed to, like, intentional indoctrination and, like, propaganda. And that's why everybody is stupid now, as opposed to just people were born being stupid. And this is they naturally just want to watch Ow My Balls. Which is not actually the case. People want to watch Ow My Balls because everybody else is watching Ow My Balls and you want to fit in. I hope so, Frank. Things are scary. Certainly, DD just did a stream on, was it Saturday or Sunday? Where he was talking about how things are getting really bad for us. Especially with the hospital bills. Things were already getting pretty tight since before then, but after the hospital bills, of which there may be one more coming. I saw it in my, like, upcoming mail, that email that they send you. That looks like another bill, and I'm really scared. I hope that it's going to be manageable, because we may be nearing the end here. We may be entering endgame. And I really hope that we'll be able to continue to make stuff like Trigger or Treat. Syrup, it shouldn't be that there's an emergency stream every 2 weeks. It's unsustainable for, like, everybody, for us and you, and it's not fair. Yeah, Sorted Spiral. I'm very nervous because somebody in chat, when we were talking about it, they were like, oh yeah, I got hounded for hospital bills for like years. And I'm like, we can't do that. It's already like a miracle every time that we're able to raise the money that we need to do it. It can't keep happening. There's going to come a point where people don't have the money to spare. And you can't expect people to bail you out every time anyway. We'll see, Agent Honey Sweet. I don't necessarily know. It might be a bill. It might not. You can sign up for a service where they email you ahead of time about incoming mail. I haven't received the letter yet, so I don't know what it is. But it's from a radiology company, and that makes me figure, okay, it's probably another bill. If it is one, I don't know how much they're asking for yet. I may be able to cover it anyway. People were really, really generous on our last stream. But that's what I was just talking about, is that, like, that I can't count on that generosity constantly. The pain is over. The pain was just basically that day alone. The pain was coming from the stone traveling from my kidneys out my urethra. And then I got through it and I'm fine. But that's kind of the thing, is like, they looked at me really quickly in the hospital. They were like, oh, they did an x-ray thing. They put me through a machine that did an image of my insides. And they were like, oh, it's a kidney stone and it's a really small one. You don't need any treatment. You can go home, just take some painkillers. That's it. That's all they did. And now it's been they wanted to charge me for $10,000, and luckily at least they gave me an option where I only had to pay $1,000 as long as I could pay it immediately. We raised the money for that. Then they sent me another bill that was $1,500. This is already getting way too crazy for the amount of actual care that I was given, which was not a lot. More than that, there was a third bill that was at least only $40. That to me seemed more reasonable. And I assumed that was going to be it, but then they kept coming. Frank, supposedly what the doctor... I always heard when I was growing up, oh, it's if you drink too much soda. Nobody mentioned soda at the ER. I talked to like 2 nurses and a doctor. And the doctor was the one to be like, oh yeah, they just kind of happen. So don't worry about it. The nurses tried to fill me in on like, oh, avoid milk, which I already do because I'm lactose intolerant, things like that. Nobody said anything about like eating less of like specific things. Thanks, Brewer. That might be what I have to do because I think this is getting pretty crazy. I think $2,500 is enough for a hospital bill. They did say less salt, which is too bad because I really like salt. I probably do not drink enough water. Sort of guy with three eyes. It's sketchy in a spiritual sense. We live in a very conservative area. Everybody has, like, Trump flags around and stuff like that. And the hospital I went to looked very upscale. I had actually never seen a hospital that nice before. So I assume that might be part of it, but even then, it's definitely, like, a systemic thing. This is why it's, like, this is, like, not a thing I'm surprised by. It sucks. But I already knew since growing up that it was like, yeah, don't go to the hospital. If you have an injury or something, do your very best to just weather it. Because if you go to the hospital, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. And at least you can do state health care, which will cover your children, but after a certain age, I don't remember, I think it's like age 20 or something, you're not covered anymore. There's a lot of other stuff. DD and I have complained a lot about how, for example, taxes are harder on, if you're self-employed. Taxes are a lot more problematic. Because the idea is they want to encourage you to work for McDonald's rather than working for yourself. And so I would assume that also not having health insurance is kind of a similar thing. By the way, I'm very sorry if anybody lives in the UK, because I saw about how you guys have to do monthly taxes now, which that's terrifying. I'd be really upset if that was a thing that we had to do. Hi there, Akemi. How's it going? Yeah, I'm glad that there's been a lull in the heat. Next week, it's supposed to get warm again. But at least for right now, it's decent. I went out to do some yard work today. 50, 30, 20. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't know about the identification stuff. I don't think so, Caitlin. What was the deal? I feel like I remember like a year ago or like months ago that there was like something about like abolishing daylight savings time, which I would appreciate because for me it's very confusing. But I don't know, other people might like it, I'm not sure. Did I design? Yes, I did. His head was at first horizontal, and then he asked me to make it vertical. So he did have input. Yeah, I've shown it off a lot of times. I'm not going to do it right now. Because I want to get some work done here. Especially because with everything being so crazy, I have not been able to work on Trick or Treat in like a week or two. I don't remember when the last stream was. You guys probably remember better than I do. I've just been incredibly distracted by all the craziness going on. So I really want to get this through, because especially, I think you guys have been hearing us talk about how our last hope in terms of like trying to make things stable is we got to get a fucking game finished. We've been saying that for years. The consequences will only be more and more dire the longer it takes. So it's better that I can get this done ASAP. How big is your team? For making games, core members are just me and DD. We get freelance work from a few specific people for things like soundtrack, because neither of us are musicians, at least for right now. I would like to learn music, but I don't know enough about it right now. We have one person doing pixel art cleanup on my animations. And that's about it. I really don't want to be Juice, but I'm doing my best. This art style, for example, the one that I'm using for Trick or Treat, is supposed to be intentionally messy because it helps with that. With Tough Bippy, I was spending a lot of time refining the line art, and now I don't necessarily have to. Sometimes it still happens, like, reflexively, and I have to catch myself and be like, no, you're spending too much time on this. Yeah, I've said this before, Frosty, I'm sure you've heard me. I really want to learn to play the organ before I die. So I need to get started on keyboard. But I'm going to need free time, and I'm going to need money to buy a keyboard. So I don't know when that's going to happen. Thank you, Bobo. I worked very hard on the Tough Bippy animations. String or wind instruments? Yeah, sure. I don't see why not. Violin's pretty keen. But I'm not super excited about learning them. Organ is the one that I'm really like, I really want to be able to learn organ. It's important to me. I've got a lot of very intense emotions that I need to bellow with giant metal pipes. I've been here, Harlow. We've been streaming on Twitch for, I think, almost a decade now. Wait, sorry, no. In terms of, that would have been like game streams. In terms of game dev, where I'm actually doing animation, probably a little less than that. I'm going to say, what did we start? 2019, something like that. But I've been doing my animations on stream for quite a while. In fact, you're kind of at the end of the life cycle. After Trick or Treat is done, I might not be doing them anymore. Originally, we started doing the game dev streams because people would keep saying like, oh, that's not real. They're not really doing anything. And we wanted to prove like, no, we're working all the time. At this point, that's not really a necessity. It's just like proving that we're active. More so, it's like, it is to show that we're working on things, but also because it pays a little bit of money. But at this point, the money that it pays is very little. It's like $150. It used to be like maybe like a couple $100. But at this point, I'm getting like $150 from Twitch every month, and it's like almost not worth the effort. It still helps, and I'm still doing it. But it's kind of getting to a point where it's going to be a bit of a inconvenience to keep streaming. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe if things loosen up a little bit after we get a game out, maybe it won't need to feel so stressful anymore. Part of the issue is that streaming for me is really, really tiring. I managed to hit a sweet point of limiting myself to 3 hours. I used to stream for a full 8 hours, and it was like fucking, it was so rough. That is part of it, at least, like, when we stream, there's, you could talk to, like, a couple hundred people at a time. You can have a little sermon if you so desire, and so we talk about, like, politics and junk. We talk about our views on things and like, entertainment and stuff like that. But that can be part of what makes it even more stressful. More and more as time goes on, I have to keep explaining to people like, yeah, sorry, I don't follow the media that you guys like. And that kind of sets you up for some stress. Sets me up for some stress, probably not most people. I should have turned it black while I was doing that. Yes, I believe you're right. I think it's partially because of me. People like DD a little bit more, and they like me a little bit less. For what the reason that Bee-Juice is talking about. I think I'm just a very generally depressing person. I don't want to be, but I think just that's by the standards of society, I'm very unpleasant. And before you jump in, because whenever I say this, people jump in to be like, no, I like you, Julian. I'm glad you guys do. Thank you. But I think it's also just kind of natural to a certain extent. I do, Tormevel. To a certain extent, I'm like, yeah, what do they call it? They say, like, rent lowering shots, right? You keep your space from being gentrified that way. By, like, being unpleasant. But it also means that, hey, if you have a message that you want to get out there, people aren't going to hear you. And since we're talking about getting paid as well, it also means you're going to make less money. So there are downsides. And you have to weigh in what's important to you. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully putting a game out there is actually enough to keep us afloat so that we can keep making things. Because I want to keep making things. This is one out of like probably like 20 projects that I really want to finish. 1 out of 20 is not a great score. Thank you, Pinky. That's, at least that shows you're paying attention, because that's usually the metaphor that I use. Certain things are unpleasant, but you got to take them in. Hopefully we can keep this up and keep like a nice community going. Play an organ? No. I probably should consider it one of them. Maybe partially. I would like to do music stuff. But mostly it's like animated. I want to do some animated movies. I want to do some games. I want to do some animated series. Probably sounds like the one that's more likely, but it would require so much work that it's probably less likely than a game or a film. It requires a shit ton of practice. The sooner that you start animating, the better you're going to be sooner. You kind of have to go into it knowing, okay, it's going to take like 20 years before I'm really good. I have been animating for about 20 years, and I feel pretty confident that if I wanted to animate something, I could just do it. That it is possible. Not necessarily easy or likely, but possible. So if you want to be an animator, you should probably start ASAP. I agree. No, I do remember the feeling of being like, I don't know how to do things. And now I feel relatively confident that whatever I wanted to draw, I could probably manage it. And it does take like a weight off of you. You stop feeling that sense of like competition with people and stuff like that. You should, Pinky Sarge. That's going to be one of the things that makes you a good animator. Every animator needs to learn how to make shortcuts, how to make the process less arduous than it needs to be. Okay, good. I can't erase that. You should. That's a good idea, TB, is to practice in Blender, and then you'll be a little bit more prepared for when you do game work. Yeah, actually, I do like doing environments. Most of my peers do not. But very early on, I noticed the idea that, like, if you don't learn to do environments, all your characters do is stand around in the void without anything to do. And it makes your work a lot less interesting. So I was like, oh, I want to be able to, like, capture the subtleties of an environment because it's good for storytelling. And I feel a little less confident than with character drawing, but still, I've been practicing my environments to a point where I don't really feel that challenged if I need to do one. I should have just did this. There's a good way of art, just finding a new style no one has captured and be ambitious. You could do that if you want to, but it's pretty tough. I've heard a lot of people over the years say things like originality is overrated. And I don't agree with that. I think we should still be trying to figure out novel things. But it's not that huge of a deal if your ideas look like somebody else's. Because a huge part of human learning is just imitating the things around you. But I do think it's better the more diverse we try to be. I don't think it's a good thing if somebody grows up like emulating somebody else's art style one for one. You can learn from people that you study and incorporate that into your style. But unless you're very specifically looking to get hired by like, okay, I want to make sure that I can capture the style of this studio. I want to work for Studio Ghibli, and so therefore I'm going to learn to draw like that. Number one, it's not as likely as you'd think that they'll just take you because you have the right art style, but then even on top of that, it's probably better for you to have a little bit of range. Because it means that you're going to be less surprised when you're asked to do something outside of your comfort zone. The other half of this is, I would just say don't really sweat style very much. Style tends to develop pretty naturally without you having to guide it. At a certain point, you once you're studying a lot, you will be able to like capture whatever art style you want, which is pretty cool. It's very impressive to me when I can see an artist be able to do very, very vastly different things. It's a little scary because I think people think of art style as like your face, that it's a natural part of you. And so when you see somebody put on a new face, all of a sudden it's a little bit like, oh my god, so what? Like what? That other thing wasn't really you. And in a way, it's not. Identity is an illusion that our brains like. But you can change very drastically depending on circumstances. Hey Warma, welcome back. How are things progressing? I wonder how often, assuming we get to finish Trigger Trait, I wonder how often it's going to happen. That I'm going to be playing the game and I'll see an animation and I'll be like, oh yeah. I'll like have a flashback to like Splatterhouse. Oh, I can't select that. Have a flashback to like Splatterhouse soundtrack. You know what, that's fine. Let's just do it by hand. Probably not. I think it's been too long. They already did a remake. And because they already did that, I assume they're going to feel like the well has been tapped. That there's like nothing else you could do with it now. I'm sure there is, but I don't think they would. Why does this feel weird then? It looks to be about the same height. Yeah, I thought, yeah, no, believe me, I think so too. I've thought about what they would do for Splatterhouse a lot. What kind of things you could still do with it, but I wouldn't assume they're going to. Probably the best you're going to do is get like another re-release or something that it'll be like, oh, Switch 2, there's a port where you could play the arcade game again. I don't get it. Why is this one so much taller? Oh, because it just is. It literally is taller. Yeah, okay. Thanks very kindly, Neo Blaze. I appreciate it anyway. I don't know who Cobalt is. I don't remember them. Does it work? Does it? Is that like a thing that you're allowed to like gift it to just a random person? One fool. You just got charged 3 times. Did you do that on purpose or was that a mistake? Please get in touch with us if you need that back. How would you describe my art output? What do you mean, like the frequency of it? Because I don't know how often you draw. I've seen a bunch of your drawings. Okay, do you want us to send that back to you? Because I can refund a couple of those. Style, huh? Yeah, your art does have a really, really, really strange quality to it. That I'm not sure how I would describe. Everything's made out of very loose, abstract shapes, and it makes it feel very dreamlike. Almost like, I don't know, like cave drawings or something like that. There's something about it that feels kind of like primeval. That's what I thought. Okay, we're gonna have to say this every stream. If you make a donation, please wait for like 10 minutes to see whether it went through before you try to do it again. It seems pretty universally that this problem happens because people keep trying to force it through. Let me go ahead and get that back to you right now. Thank you very kindly for wanting to make a donation. And I'm sorry that Streamlabs is not particularly responsive. There we go. That's one. And let me get the other. That ought to do it. Probably not this year, no. But we would definitely like to go back to doing the Dreadful Dead Scream someday. So we'll see if things even out. I really hope so. But things are in a major state of disarray these days. I don't think I need to tell you. I think it's kind of like hitting the fan for everybody everywhere right now. It seems to me to be a pretty universal experience. Don't say no Halloween streams. I'm just talking about the Dreadful Dead Scream we're probably not going to do. We'll probably stream Halloween games on our regular stream days is what we'll probably be doing. Yeah, I don't drive. I don't have a car, so I wasn't thinking about it very much, but obviously there's like... Sorry. Obviously there's like major ramifications to the I don't know what to call it, the Israeli-Palestine war. I don't think there's a specific name for it yet. People always just say Palestine. There's going to be like a lot of problems for sure. I haven't checked in with Ukraine in a while. How's that going? I feel like I heard a thing about like Russia's having problems, but that was like a month or two ago. This is supposed to be a little bit higher up. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of to begin with. It's a good story. Yeah, I get it, Frosty Foster. I mean, the fact that I even have to say, like, I don't remember what happened. It's happening even on a domestic level. I'm thinking of, like, I saw somebody made a joke about egg prices earlier today. And I was like, oh yeah, remember when that was a thing? Now everybody's on about the lettuce parasites, but like before that it was even then I forgot. I was thinking about it earlier. What was it? There was another health scare like previously. I mean, I think you guys are proving my point that you're suggesting things that are not the one I'm thinking of. Just shit constantly. Just shit constantly. The screwworms are ongoing. I know that that's been a thing for like quite a while. The first I heard about, I didn't even know the screwworms were a thing until like, I want to say like a year ago.
Sorry to have to give you bad news. I think it's the kind of bad news you absolutely wouldn't want to hear either.
Okay.
So you know how we thought something was probably going on during that stream? Yeah, there was. Somebody figured out how to film it. They intentionally edited out most of it to just aim it all at one end.
You know? Oh, Aaron.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. We'll go on.
No.
I guess I should just let you finish.
I mean, I guess they included a little bit of that, but no, mostly about trying to make it seem like we're being petty and trying to throw a bunch of people under right now or something again. They titled it with the same kind of title you would have expected out of, like, almost a decade ago. They've apparently been deleting comments of anybody trying to even give context to some of it. So the intent is to do, you know, what they've been doing for years. Force it into be a big drama. And to be fair, it's going to be dramatic to any extent anyways, for being upfront. But I know since the beginning, you wanted the Band-Aid ripped off. At this point, the Band-Aid is ripped off. Everyone certainly has picked up on what's happened, but it is the thing that we always theorized from the beginning, which was absolutely no one is going to be there unless you're aiming at exclusively at Aaron Hansen.
Yeah.
And yes, they're blaming us for everything. Weird how that changes so quick. It's strange how that changes so very quickly when the name changes about where some of the problems came from. It's at least consistent with all the old talks we had, obviously. You've talked about it on your stream for years. Since like the very beginning. But, yeah, that's going on right now, and I guess that's just what I want to prep you for. This is definitely going to be the worst of it.
As in, you're saying it's going to get better from here?
No. Oh, no. We're at the beginning of it.
Oh.
It's going to keep getting worse from here. A lot of insistence on people knowing people that we knew better. A lot of insistence on people knowing our situations better than we do. Obviously, you know, I don't need to go on and on and on about the bad faith and everything. Some people even going, I bet they're gonna say something. Where, of course we are. You know, considering the fact that we had somebody come out with a gun just a while back, of course we are. But, likelihood of that happening again? Pretty likely. Pretty big attempt to make this into an issue, which is unfortunate. Because I remember I was even trying to be diplomatic during it, but if you're going to cut off about 5 hours to chop it down intentionally to about 40 minutes, and you're deleting comments, and you give it a drama title, and you're posting it around everywhere, yeah, it's what happened last time. So, fair enough, it's where it's going to go. I guess what I'll at least say is, I don't feel bad for having the conversation or anything. I don't feel good either. But I guess what I'll at least give you here, you're free to talk about this stuff a lot more openly at this point, because I guess this is a thing maybe we can also just make visible for people this moment, because if you want to know, yeah, the YouTube people are over here right now too. The viewer count on the website is usually at 20, and right now it's at 90 because there's a bunch of people coming over from the comments section.
There's only 100 viewers here right now.
Okay.
Which, if anything, is less than normal.
Okay, well, at least there's that.
So you're saying I can just say things?
I would just say be careful, because I think that's the biggest issue here. I don't know how to navigate this one, because like I said, even during that stream I kept bringing it up. I don't really know how to navigate this.
Because unfortunately...
If you don't say anything, you're going to get attacked.
Yes,
if you say something, you're going to get attacked. If you don't give context, people will make up their own, but then if you give context, they're going to make up their own anyways because they don't like your context. There's an insistence on the idea of, haven't you noticed everything goes wrong with everybody that you're around, when simultaneously people saying, man, why is it something always goes wrong with that other guy around? He doesn't deserve this, where it's, are you listening to yourself? It doesn't make any sense, does it? How is it both this and it isn't this? Because it's not supposed to be. It's biases, we knew that. It's something I always knew. That
Lerma, that's not a good thing to avoid bringing up. You should have said something.
What?
But thank you anyway.
What did they say?
That people were talking about it on the website and that they didn't want to bring it up.
Oh, no. I think it has to be brought up because, if anything, our lives are going to be in probably a lot of danger now. They already were, because, once again, a lot of people already kind of understood what was going on. Yes, there's still shots being taken at us in the back and everything, too, and they have been for years. And that's why saying anything about it is the problem. We really were supposed to kind of go away. And unfortunately, yeah, this is where a lot is going to be at for God knows how long. I already actually was messaging some of the people we used to know after that stream anyways, and seeing if I could figure out talking to them, because even though I wasn't happy about how my conversations with Aaron went, you know, the thing about atonement, what was the other phrase, just saying like yuck for the fact that guy. At the same time, I'm not going to hold a lot of resentment towards that, because he at least understood the situation. I know he's really concerned about his image and everything. It's a little bit unfortunate that sometimes these things can't be taken a bit more serious than that. But at the same time, too, I mean, he's obviously recognized a lot of this and knows what this looks like. It's why he probably was partially even talking to me about some of it. But, we've gotten to see that if people are trying to distance from any of this, a finger is always pointed at them. And that's...
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say any of this. Now you could just say oneyplays, right? Like, since the Band-Aid is ripped off, you could just say that's the problem.
I would broaden it, because I would say Newgrounds, because the reason that Aaron has had a weird situation...
It's true, they both came from Newgrounds, right?
They both came from...
Hey, so yeah, if anybody was confused by the fact that I kept saying don't go to Newgrounds, it's because it's really dangerous and our lives have been threatened for like a decade over this.
No.
The specific people that we were around have really, really, really bad fandoms that go out and attack anybody who criticizes their fandom. And we've been trying to avoid it for many years. And this is why I ban people who come in with oneyplays references. Yeah. Because I automatically expect that they're dangerous.
We could also speak to that. I'm usually a lot more lenient about that.
I've been trying to tell Ding Dong to like open up about it for all this time, and he really wanted to avoid conflict, but the conflict is here now. It sucks.
And that was the thing I did. I finally opened up about it because we were starting to get everything to happen again. For the context, because, yeah, someone over on the website was even asking for it. And if anybody's over in the chat on the website, feel free to go drop it. That's where they're hovering right now. I can tell a lot of people are trying to make problems over on the website. And the reason they know about the website is because, yeah, it was a few weeks ago. You found it because we don't use Twitter. You were getting a lot of weird followers. So was I. We could tell something was up. And the thing that was trying to give it away was that I was getting really weird emails on the contact email address. Getting really vicious again. Lashing out really hard. Bringing up shit from seriously a decade ago again. And it turns out, yeah, it wasn't even a malicious tweet. Somebody tweeted a thing about your Tumblr comic from seriously a decade ago in relation to like a merchandise thing. And it made people really angry that we ever said anything. And that we were ever open about anything. And how, you know, mental illness, whatever you gotta come at it with. They're still doing it, which is funny, because I even said during the stream, I pointed out a lot of the behavior that they're still demonstrating. But to be fair, I know the video is massively edited, so I don't know if they also chopped out some of the things I was kind of calling out ahead of time for you.
So are we talking about this is like a 6-hour video, or it's like a 20-minute video?
No, 40 minutes. And you know that stream was long as
Yes.
fuck.
Yeah.
You know a lot got said. They intentionally chopped it out because that's why you do this kind of thing. If you're trying to force a lolcow situation, you gotta fucking force it. And they are. It's gonna work. I know it will. And I know it would be a thing too of people, because that's what it is. The bad faith arguing right now is saying anything makes you really bad. And I bet you're so thin-skinned. All these different like assessments, judgments, all these things being said. At one point, somebody had even said, the furry call-out, I'm sure was being done as a joke. No, it wasn't. In fact...
I mean, it's not like that person is here. I obviously know. You don't need to explain that to me.
If anything, you were calling it out to me even when it was happening. I didn't realize some of it when we were recording at the time. But during those videos when we were doing them, not only did we catch them on their phone using 4chan, and they were in a thread that was related to one of the people they knew, they had mentioned at one point, too, that they knew about our Furry Picardo streams because they were looking at a thread at the time in relation to it and didn't want to get into it any further than that. But that was also simultaneously around the time they made that reference in that video. That was why it was such a big deal. I didn't know about that video until somebody else brought it up to me. And that was just before, you know, all this reignited again.
Well, like I said, I don't think anybody here is going to need that to be, like, defended. You don't need to explain what the situation is. You already did it in your stream.
Yeah.
And, like, you going over it...
People who are here already know. I don't need to re-explain anything. More so just what I'm going to get into is... you're open to talk about things at this point. If we're going to get hurt, we are. I know it's not going to be taken well. I know it's going to be very threatening. I know that the people behind the scenes who already had been threatening us over the years will really be going probably the hardest they ever have. Because this was the thing that they were ever really afraid of, was us kind of acknowledging that we didn't have a good time. Not even really having to go much further than that. Just acknowledging that we didn't really get along. It's why we did just keep it very short, saying we want to move on. It's never going to be short, especially after this. It's not
no, these people are not going to want it to move on.
But I'm really sorry, because I know you've already been having enough of a hard time with your own stress, because people are trying to make it a thing again in recent months here.
Maybe it'll help that, like, I don't have to hide it anymore. Like, that does remove one source of stress. But certainly adding on to the threat of death is, like, not... I don't know if they're comparable. So, I hope we don't die. That would be nice.
Yeah, I would like to not die. The thing is, it's a really weird emotional state to be in right now. It's also why, you know, obviously the insults don't fucking mean anything. It's just people making it clear they've got their biases, you know, who they're going to be on the side of, and that's fine. That's how internet stuff goes anyways. That's why talking about anything, you're not going to get people taking it serious. You're just going to have people looking for harm through it all. But I don't even feel afraid anymore.
Are you sure?
I just kind of feel numb. Because this is playing out exactly how I was already kind of expecting it to, admittedly, even during...
I mean, you've been preparing for this for years.
Yeah.
You have all your, like, documents and stuff.
No, I do. I do have everything, if it really has to escalate to a point like that. The reason I never pulled a lot of this stuff out is because it never did escalate to a point like that. Because I ultimately never did want to fight, and, you know, that is a thing that we could get into right now. When we were recording again and everything, you remember what it was like, right? I think I was giving way too much space to things. And
I mean, I certainly felt that way, but you were telling me I was wrong for a very long time.
Because at the same time, this was what I was worried about, obviously, was the conflict. You always wanted to speak up, and I never thought you were necessarily wrong for wanting to.
You said that my approach was bad.
Yes, because to be fair, so was mine. I don't think there's an approach you can take. It's why my original plan, when you remember we're back at the office, was just don't talk to anybody and just kind of slowly get out of there and let people forget about you. But, no, if anything, someone coming out armed again, I wouldn't be surprised.
You have the full stream. Maybe you want to upload it.
I don't.
What do you mean you don't?
I don't. I'm not going through Cloudflare anymore. I could.
You told me that you were saving all your streams anyway.
Only when it was the more major ones, experimental streams. I wasn't saving, like the Super Nintendo one, because
you didn't think this one of all streams would be.
I probably should have. You're right on that. The thing is, it also went for 18 hours, I think. So it was a very long stream. Maybe it wasn't 18. I think it was like 6.
So you have. I shouldn't talk.
It's okay. Well, it's okay because what I was gonna get at on that one is it just proves that people do. They already have the full one. Yes.
Yeah, but they're not going to give it to you.
Well, that's the thing. That's why they cut it down.
Yeah.
They cut it down because that's the intention right now is to make a big fight.
Right.
But hey, I mean, goes exactly with what I said.
I think, well, that's what I was getting at was I think the important thing would try to be like, hey, I tried to say this without causing conflict and people are causing conflict.
Yes. No, because it... Like
but if you don't have the proof of that, that's an issue.
The thing is...
Because you said it repeatedly,
what?
that you were like, hey, there's no call to action here.
No,
just
don't worry, that's in the video.
Oh.
That is in the video. They're still getting angry about it. That's what I'm trying to get at with you. The things that I'm saying are not very vicious. It's only going to be viewed that way if you feel like your favorite creator is being attacked and you need to defend them, which was the issue to begin with altogether. Mm-hmm. It's why people act like weirdos around Aaron Hansen.
Empathetic says that the uploader states that the full audio is on Kiwi Farms, if that helps.
Ah, well, there you go. That's why they did it. Big shock, everybody. It was a Kiwi Farms thing. Can you believe it? That's why a lot of comments insisting on lolcow, and that's also why people getting angry that we even brought up political affiliations. Go figure. Yeah, if the whole thing is there, then the whole thing is there. People can go listen to it if they want to, because that is what you'll hear within it. No, I constantly bring it up. I keep bringing up how we made mistakes, too. We handle a lot of things poorly, too. Everybody made mistakes. That's why sometimes you're still seeing two people just going, get therapy, when, boy, isn't that funny to say, when the entire discussion is about how we barely can even survive, coming off of all these things. Therapy also doesn't stop somebody from showing up at your door with a gun.
Why does it say it twice?
What?
That's really weird. That happened
before. The block term thing?
Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about it.
Well, it's okay. The thing is, I know Kiwi Farms also loves all those guys.
Well, duh.
Yeah. Because we knew that too. I didn't even know what Kiwi Farms was until they kept bringing it up behind the scenes. I think it even found its way in the videos that they were bringing it up to. And I think that's why there was always a lot of this going on too. You know, we're gay, woke, whatever people would want to swing. It's why even being able to have a talk about this one. You know, funnily enough, the insistence on schizo, all these different things. I don't think we'd be able to maintain our composure quite as well as this and be able to just still talk about it if that were the case. Because that's the insistence. You scream things out.
I wouldn't go that far personally.
You cut things down. What? About what?
That, like, our mental health is safe.
I guess that's true.
I would say mine is not.
Oh.
I would say this has directly been the thing to make me go crazy.
But you've still been able to talk about it pretty plainly if you can. But I guess that's the thing. I did stop you a lot from talking about it. And then I had my own moments of talking about it because the pressure at home was enough that we felt like we had to do something. That's why I'm saying you have permission to talk about things more openly. I kind of don't really want to get into these things again after this point because the Band-Aid is ripped off now. There's no reason.
You're going to have to talk about it for that reason because people are going to be bringing it up to you without context for the rest of your life.
Werema, feel free to. It's going to keep blowing up. People are really trying to spread it around and make it into a big thing. This was, for anyone who wouldn't know, this is what the fear was kind of the entire time was because of who got us hurt in some cases. It's going to be a thing of you will never, ever, ever be able to talk about this. A lot of people want to see bad things happen, and you're going to be treated as a villain for having something bad happen to you. And saying anything about it is wrong. Not saying anything about it is wrong. Making distance is wrong. It's all towards the idea of you have to prop up somebody like this and just make room for them, otherwise you're going to be threatened.
I don't know what's the reason people keep talking about commenting, because I don't think that would be a good thing. I don't think that's going to help.
Oh, no, commenting on the video? They're deleting all the comments.
Yeah, exactly. They're just they're gonna get rid of anything that
That's why if
disagrees.
someone is recording this, I'm sure they'll edit this part out. But yeah, the person who uploaded it has also been intentionally going and deleting comments because people were trying to give context to it and they kept deleting them. I only just heard about this seriously a few minutes ago. Werma had brought it up to me. And I wasn't really surprised. I had mentioned it, I think even during the stream I mentioned it. Weird viewer count that maintained itself and kept up and everything too. Lots of suspicious new user accounts. In fact, we had about 60 new accounts during that stream, which was very, very, very suspect. That's the thing though. This is how internet engagement works. Someone can notice the obvious and be able to piece that together and even be able to preemptively say things in relation to it, and you can just as easily go, schizo? Paranoid? Well, it's not paranoia, it's just what you're doing. Because that is what just happened. No, we've been able to tell because the thing is, we've had to be dealing with this for like a decade now. Raid attempts, all this shit. People have been going at it for a long, long time. We usually do just keep our heads down about it. Oh my god. Werma specifically, I remember it was like horrifying starting as a moderator that they had to see just how often this was, and just how frequent it was, and just how far it would go. Werma was the one who alerted us about the fact that somebody in the chat was bringing up that somebody was coming by with a gun. It was multiple people too, and I have the screenshots of all that too. In fact, we saved all the posts about that as well. We do have all of that as well. We have the photos and the videos and everything from the person who came by trying to lure us outside. We do have all of that. We have all of this. We do have all of it. But I hope this at least gets to showcase something to you guys too. It's interesting that all the things that we've already talked about before only become a problem if they're not focused on the right person. If it's Ego Raptor, it's okay. If it's anybody else, it is not. Nobody handled this stuff well at the time. I even say it a lot during it. That's why I would encourage people, go ahead and listen to the full audio.
Faison, we don't have the money for a lawyer right now.
Oh, no, we don't. We never had money for a lawyer. That was part of the reason this was also scary at the time. We barely could afford rent. We were in no position to combat any of this. And even with all of it too, it's why I always did. Just
some lawyers will work pro bono, but I don't think this is the sort of thing where they go, "Ooh, I could make a lot of money."
No, and they've got the money to be able to like combat it if they're going to. And what it would just be is lots of legal fees. Because, like I said, I have everything. I don't even want a lawsuit. I didn't even want to fight to begin with. But that's the problem too. The way that this kind of thing works, bad faithing it and everything too. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be, you kind of just lose either way here. If you don't do anything, you lose. If you do something, you lose. Are you still making things? You lose. Are you not making things? You lose. We weren't supposed to be in some kind of winnable spot here. It was meant to be a lose-lose. The winning move would have been not playing. And unfortunately, we didn't have the context for all of this until it was too late. But it's why I did say over and over again during it too, I don't even want to do this kind of thing where it's like, don't watch these guys anymore. You're allowed to. I also told people they would be happier in some cases if they.
Oh, I know. I mean, I know they would. They don't. They're mad at us because we continue to exist.
And because we also
they can just forget we exist. That would be, I think, ideal for everybody. But
we hurt their image to a
unfortunately, the whole dynamic of this is that fandom doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. We didn't have a good time. We're still not really through a lot of the stuff that happened. And the narrative got messed up here.
Thalassic, I could download it if I need to. I guess it might be safe to do that.
The thing is, someone will
Oh, I might be already recording.
You are. You save your VODs.
Yeah.
The reason I was, like I said, even going back on some of this stuff for these smaller streams is because the Cloud Player hosting was so goddamn expensive that there was no way to maintain that. I mentioned it before, the Spring Break Marathon stream, because that was, like, during the Cloudflare thing. Yeah, it was, like $768 or something was the bill for hosting for that month because of it. A lot of people coming by. and things getting hammered really hard. But, yeah, it's going to be even worse from here on out. It was a thing we knew was coming up one of these days. We knew the moment was going to...
Oh, you're right!
What?
Yeah, the viewers... I think because you noticed, the viewership shot up.
See? Look at that. Don't worry, that's just me being paranoid again. No, everyone who's doing this kind of thing absolutely knows what they're doing. Everyone understands what kind of conflict they're trying to make happen here. People really want this to be a big drama. It's why they were posting your comic from like a decade ago, just a few weeks ago, too. No one is ever going to let us be able to move on or live this kind of thing down. Because what ideally people wanted was everyone to get along and be able to make their way through this. And considering we have talked about this stuff a lot on screen, I think what people would also get if you've heard it all, I don't want to stop people from enjoying what they enjoy. If that's the kind of sense of humor you have, then yeah, we're probably not the right creators to be following. You probably are in the wrong space. That doesn't even necessarily have to be a big thing against you. It's just, yeah, you're probably just in the wrong place. I don't want people to stop watching this content necessarily. I just wish that we didn't have to have so many people around us at the time kind of getting worried about their own images and just letting a lot go this far. But, of course they're worried about their image because, hey, we were told this enough times when we were working for everybody, too. They understand audiences are like this. They do understand this. The insistence that I was always given was don't say anything, while simultaneously the people around you will continue to say things and throw shots in your way, but you're not supposed to say anything. I got told very directly back around, like, 2021, 2022, don't ever say anything, and that was around the time, by the way, that the furry comic got made. They knew people were going after us for that kind of thing at the time, too. I'd like things to be better between all of us. I always did. And I guess that's why I'd say maybe if you want to speak towards some of that, what it was like doing those videos, because I think you've had a lot you've wanted to say, and that's why I said you can be opened up about it at this point.
I appreciate it, but I don't think I would say anything that wouldn't piss everybody off more. Because I have a much more negative outlook on it than you do.
Yeah. And people already feel like I have a really negative outlook on it.
Yeah. I've said this on the stream before, but like what you're hearing DD say and you're going like, oh, what a fucking annoying asshole. Like, you got no idea. I would go like 100 times harder.
You didn't want to talk to anybody at all who was following any of this stuff. If you
like I said, I do, whenever an oneyplays fan comes around, I do just block them on site.
And that it impacts
I don't ask questions, I just say get out.
It impacts you for days, I know. It can really, tear down your mood. It used to impact me. But I think you remember, when was it? Was it 2020 that I started saying I was just starting to feel numb overall?
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
It happened for
It's really wacky
enough
to think back to that being like the most intense, like, emotional strain I was under when things have gotten like so much worse since then.
But, yeah, it stinks because, like I said, I have no idea how you're supposed to really handle this because there's not really a way of handling it. If we didn't say anything, we were going to keep getting hurt, and we did. You wanted to say things immediately, but I also knew during the height of all of it would probably be the messiest point, because it already was so messy during it.
Be really careful, Werma. Don't block people too quickly, because we don't know what the situation is yet.
Even one of the people who came from the comments section, I'm sure they're going to still give a spin to something here, but it's why I was willing to even explain some of the stuff to them, too. The context is intentionally lifted off of that video. Even the idea of not really wanting people to understand why this started becoming a thing again, and why it was even a talk happening. But that's what the insistence is that you're not supposed to say anything. If something bad happens to you, you're supposed to just let it happen and you don't say anything. A lot of people feel like they know the people that we know better than we do, when we've known these people for, like, seriously, like 8 years. We know them for...
You knew them for way longer. You're talking from...
that.
You knew them for like 5 years more than I did.
Not 5, like 2 years, I would say. But still, yeah, no, that's true. More than that, probably like 12 years, I guess. There might have been a little bit of fear because I kept mentioning Shadman as a connection too, and you know, interestingly enough, someone's saying that they're being impacted by these things, but then that's an element kind of being ignored too. So, if we're also going to be documenting everything we talk about at this point, okay, can we talk about Shadman? Hey, what the fuck is up with that? It's pretty weird, isn't it?
He's not around anymore, so therefore it doesn't count.
He's out of jail and he's back.
No, I mean, like, he's not friends with the others.
Oh.
And so therefore, it's a bad criticism, is what they would say.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate.
Uh-huh.
That's usually what people say, is like, they already cut ties. You can't bring it up again.
Yeah. Even though we both know behind the scenes, obviously, why that was happening too. It's when the guy got arrested. They were there for all of it otherwise. They even acknowledged the things that were being done. But, that's why through all of it, it really sucks as a situation, because once again, we either have to look crazy by not saying anything and making distance, or we have to look crazy by saying what happened, so at least there's context, so we can make our distance, so both ends can just finally make their distance. Also, I'll just speak to this out loud right now, in case it does come up later, if there is going to be...
You might as well, because I would assume, yeah, people
That's
are
why
watching.
I'm already talking about how I was having conversations with some of these guys right after the stream anyhow. There was a subreddit post that was already trying to kind of call attention to it. I clicked spam on it, but I kind of regret it, because the reason I was actually clicking spam on it was person's account already had a history, and it seemed like the auto mod didn't catch it. But at the same time, I regret clicking it. So if someone makes a big case of that one, feel free to do so. My bad on that one. I probably should have just let it be there. Yes, it's going to be messy, and I know that's the intention of this too. I know that Chris is going to get really, really, really mad about all this, because he's been mad at us even when we don't say anything. He's been mad at us since the very beginning. Sometimes he would go out with you and sit you down to try to get you mad at me.
Yeah.
He was telling you how you need to start saying things to me because it's more effective.
I'll go into it if we really have to, because it's just, it sounds, it's like not, it would require too much to explain.
The Band-Aid is off. The Band-Aid really
Yeah, but I would need to, like, get into it. I'd need to be like, oh, this is the sort of thing that happens all the time, and people were always trying to, like, get us to fight with each other. Like,
you know,
it would need to be like, I would need to explain so much.
It's true. He recognized that at the beginning, too. For a very brief moment, he understood everyone was trying to get us to fight. But then the pressures of what everyone kept trying to stir up around us did get to him. It got to everybody. Got to Aaron, got to everybody. Everyone was so, like, panicked about the audience. And then I was stupid because I thought if you're calm enough about it and at least just acknowledge these things, there's room to move on and everyone could just, you know, figure it out. But that was wrong. With enough time passing and people trying to reignite these things, I figured if I at least let people know, yes, we made mistakes too. Literally everybody here. There's no good guys. And ultimately, these were personal things.
Sorry. I mean, this is unfortunately, if we've got the Band-Aid off, this is unfortunately the biggest problem that we've had this entire time.
Yeah.
Ever since the beginning, that I kept telling you, you're trying to approach this like an actual logical person, and these people are not logical. Your logic doesn't work. It is useless in this situation.
Well, can we throw it over to you then? Because like I said, I don't care what you say at this point. Just be careful to one degree.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go too far, because that's what I was always scared about with your...
I know.
And
I think
ready to... Well, I got to bring this up to some...
Go ahead. You can.
I'm going to be upfront about everything. We both may as well, because we always have been.
You can.
At the time, the reason we were partially having arguments even at home about talking about these things, I didn't want to talk about Dream Daddy, actually. But
I pushed him into it.
I said it was going to get us hurt. I was really worried about what it was going to do, and I was really insistent on, no, I already had a plan here, 2 years, and we can move our way off of this one. But we did talk about it, we organized notes with everybody, because there was this feeling of, at least if you handle it the right way, maybe it'll be okay, and it was not. And the reason it was not is not because all these creators were so angry with each other or something already. They were to a degree. The problem is this audience fucking scares all of them.
Yes.
And it was pressuring everyone to get into arguments. For example, Aaron, I don't think he would have actually lashed out the way that he did at the time if it weren't for the fact that, yes, people have been trying to make conflict happen with him since the start. There's a lot of people who have been trying to get us to go at each other's throats the whole time. And like I said early on, Chris did recognize that too. And that's why he was saying, don't fall for this stuff. But I'm not sure when he kind of had his own moment of succumbing to it and getting overly worried about what other people.
Because I think a lot of people got sucked into like the political culture war stuff. He wasn't as much at the time, but he got a lot worse as the years went on, to the point where like being MAGA was like his only identity by the end. I think by the end, or sorry, at the beginning, what the point that you're talking about, he was a little bit more of a human.
Yeah, I would say. He was a little more open-minded at the start, even though he still had these tendencies and everything. In terms of, like, well, where does he even, like, fall in, like, politically and everything? Because I know people want to say, like, well, you know, he's like, no, man. He was kicking off a lot of stuff back at the time. I mentioned the new guy meme, which, by the way,
yeah, exactly. And
why do you think Kiwi Farms?
This is what I'm talking about. When it, yeah, you get sucked into like needing to, that thing that you're always talking about, where you mention like, oh, if you're on one political side, you need to be able to, you need to side by all of the issues that are supposed to matter.
No, but it's a frustrating thing for that too, because yeah. I don't want to even put somebody on blast in that kind of way either. Really, the politics of it was something I was trying to leave out anyhow, but that is what a lot of the crowd hovering around it wants from it. And it did get worse as time went on. After, you know, things continued along, like 2016, 2017, 2018, it's why going out with people, now every single night, everyone is going on and on and on about Pizzagate. Now everyone is constantly talking about these things. Everyone's bringing up more and more conspiracy theories. At one point, I had somebody from 8chan try to send me a DM asking if I wanted to be a moderator, because there really was a strong assumption. And that's why, if Kiwi Farms people want to make this into a thing, I can start also openly talking about the Gamergate movement if you'd like me to do that. I can also start talking about a lot of how Kiwi Farms formed, who some of these people on there are, you know, where they're coming from and everything. I could get into, like, Internet Aristocrat. I could go into a lot of this stuff, and I know, by the way, have you guys noticed that whenever there's a re-upload of us, it's things like that? Ding Dong talking about Gamergate and having to title it that. It's not that you just title it the clip from the stream. It has to have a title like that. That's the kind of stuff that people have been on guard about us with. If we're going to give a little bit too much of a look into these things, and that's why there's an insistence on how we're crazy and you shouldn't hear any of it, even though that's where it's coming from. And if you want to know why, mentally, it's been kind of hard here, it's because you have this shit following you the whole way through. It really is an insistence on, okay, you made the mistake. You were willing to let people know about some of these things, and now you're going to be put into a weird spot. And that was what started happening when we were back in LA and everything, too. Everybody was getting more and more insecure about audiences. We learned about rank grumps because it wasn't one or two people. You remember?
No, literally everybody there was checking it like every day.
Even the people who weren't technically really the biggest part of the company, all of them were obsessing about rank grumps constantly. I didn't know what the fuck it was until everyone kept bringing it up. And by the way, a lot of the stuff that people post over there, no, it doesn't match up with what was actually going on. The public narrative is a lot different than what anything ever was behind the scenes. The mistake at the time is, you're right, I was trying to apply a little bit too much logic to it, and I was hoping that people could have worked these things out and been able to have talked about it. And the reason that we were even going to the point of even sitting down with everyone and compiling thoughts if we were going to talk about Dream Daddy was because we wanted to be able to just get a conversation going between all of them and also let them know that somebody not approving of what they're doing, but also understanding that that's your perspective on it. Everyone else is willing to, you know, it's open to them to take it the way they do. It's just, you don't want to be in a position to have to, like, lie or say that this is something that you're personally into. Hell, it's kind of what happened with the stream even just the other day. I don't feel like lying about where I'm at. I don't feel like putting on some kind of show for something that I don't feel. Neither of us ever wanted to be in a spot like that, and that's why, like I said, on your own end...
You're so gentle. I would just be like,
everyone was saying it was
why lie for somebody who's actively trying to get you hurt? Why protect somebody who's trying to harm you? That's where I'm at.
Because, once again, it's not even about lying, because it wasn't. We've talked about these things anyways. It's just, there's a lot more we could have gone into, and if I really wanted to be a petty fuck right now, oh, sure. There's a lot I could really get into. But I'm not going to.
Right. I mean, maybe that's the
things I
the difference between us is that you are willing to try to be gentle. You do want to be nice.
I know no one's gonna feel that way.
It's very tragic.
I get it. It's because I said anything. Like I said, even when we're back at the office, since the very beginning, it's what everybody.
I mean, I do think that you being nice is why you get targeted.
Probably.
Because people want to stamp out like whatever goodness there is in the world. It like makes them feel threatened.
But
yeah, even right now. I'm still like I disagree, but like just because I think I feel more strongly about it than you do. And the difference between two people who are like, oh, we might die soon. What little negligible difference there is there.
It'll be interesting now that the Band-Aid is off.
Bombstar, I do understand what you mean. Because I could be the type of person that would get consumed by it. And I think DD has been trying to keep me from doing that.
Way back when the Dream Daddy stuff happened, not only was Julian really insistent on talking about it, you wanted to bring up, like, Markiplier.
Yeah.
Because people who used to edit for him were bringing him up, and I had to keep telling you, you don't know if these things are true.
It was unverified.
And I don't want you to have a likely case against
conjecture.
You. Yes. That's why I've always tried to be, careful around you, too. You flat out have wanted to call people Nazis.
Yeah.
And I have to keep telling you, listen, that's not going to really go over for you. That's not going to go well for you. You don't have anything to directly point at that kind of affiliation by name.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have things towards other areas, obviously. But just that's where you're going to be going way too far. And you're not going to have someone want to hear that out when you take it that far either. But I can't give much advice on this because me also trying to be gentle.
Like, that's how we got to where we are.
Yes. Trying to just be upfront about these things and remain calm doesn't work either. Because once again, there's no working. Nothing was going to work. People were going to be very angry with us no matter what, because once again, who the fuck are we? That's always been a big piece of it, too. But I said it during the stream, and I'll say it again for anyone coming by here. You guys can continue watching them. Don't let us stop you. If anything, if we were the sour spot for it, and that was what you hated about the channel, keep watching it then. Yeah.
We're gone. We're not there.
We're gone. We made our distance.
It was week 1, remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember that it was literally we had done...
Yes, because I remember...
And you said...
I had even tweeted about it that I said, we have only been doing this for a week, and already there's like conspiracy theories and people trying to find out things about us and where we live. Yes, I remember.
We'll see what happens. Would be nice if it blows over, but
it's not gonna.
Yeah,
We're only at the start of it. What's going to happen is Chris is probably going to blow up and get really angry. We knew that was coming. He wouldn't have talks with us about these things. We gave a lot of room to it. I think you remember when you and I sat down with him because we could tell something was up and wanted to talk to him. I think he's a little bit scared to talk about things with people anyways because he's also used to stuff like this. He's used to growing up around the Newgrounds community anyways.
Exactly,
Everybody
right.
was making blackmail folders. I remember Stamper saying that to him. That he says, yeah, I make a blackmail folder about all the people that I knew. Yeah, when you're around something like that, how are you going to feel calm? It's why it was an unfortunate thing, because at certain ends, we got along great. But then these things had to still come into play. There's still the awkward internet part of it that had to be fed into. And that's always where the conflict came from. There was a crowd always kind of there, too, wanting to root on more bad things to come about and happen, which is unfortunate. They sometimes got pulled in a little bit too deep. You guys were seeing the kinds of things that JonTron was saying back at the time. It's why, on occasion, they'll still, pop in here and there with that kind of thing, but it's not constant. But no, we're going to be probably in the most danger we've ever been in now. Which is saying something, because it was pretty bad back then. We knew this moment was coming, and like I said, if it gets far enough, I do have everything. I do have everything backed up and saved. I do have it all, but simultaneously, it's not a thing I ever wanted to do because I didn't want there to be a whole thing anyways. I know somebody would be like, well, then why did you talk about it? Because also, not talking
because
about
people, I can cut you off right there. People won't leave us alone. Literally every day somebody comes to say something about it. It's inescapable. They're in the most popular fucking cartoon in the world right now. It will never go
No.
away. That was the idea.
And we still get weirdness around it too. You'll have people reach out thinking that you're a connection to it, and they start acting weird around you because they want to get a connection going. I had it happen too. We've been trying to keep our distance from all of it really hard here, but it doesn't matter if you do. You're just going to have people upset with you because, once again, you stepped away from it, and it is a popular thing. People are following all this. It doesn't matter if you say things like, hey, you can still watch them, and even through a lot of this, we fucked up too. We took things too far in some cases as well. We overreacted a bit sometimes. Sometimes that we were being naive as well. Yeah, I was trying to find an answer down the middle, and that was really foolish on my end.
I wouldn't necessarily say foolish, just that it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work.
But unfortunately, as you keep saying, the problem is no approach would.
No. It was going to be bad no matter what. But I'll state it again since it's been enough minutes here, if somebody is documenting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the person who uploaded the video, by the way, has been deleting comments over and over again. We had plenty of people over in our own chat saying that they had left comments and immediately getting flagged. So whoever uploaded it is very active at the moment, trying to make it into a thing. And they did this back at the time, too. Kiwi Farms went on us pretty hard while we were doing stuff. In fact, enough so that on occasion we would have people, when we were living back in LA, bringing it up because they like Kiwi Farms. And that's why I think a lot of people over there get that. I would assume the Chris Chan stuff recently was why even some of this was getting people to pay attention to us a bit more too.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And unfortunately on that one, I can't give any kind of crazy context or story. They happened to be following us, and my only assumption at the time was because of Mugenics and because of the fact that they wanted to get Chris Chan and Smiling Friends, that they thought that we were a connection to all of this when we weren't. I thought it was a parody account initially. I didn't know that was even Chris Chan following, but when they tried to make a post where it's like, I think that Ding Dong will agree with me, that was enough where I just blocked them because it was like, I don't know what you're doing right now. I don't like what you've done. I don't like the kind of person that you are. I feel a little bit bad, too, that there's an obsessive nature around all of it. I think the whole thing is bad news. But, no. Oh my god. Especially with the recent stuff that had happened with their mom and everything. No. I want nothing to do with it. I never did. But, people making an assumption because of something like that. And we were having people being weird about that, too. We had people lashing out. We had people coming by and trying to start fights over that as well. You guys haven't picked up on it yet. A lot of our conflict comes from other people that sometimes we're not even talking to. Sometimes we're not even acknowledging. It's just going to always be conflict. And if you're going to be living a lifestyle like this where you're willing to be open about things, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
That was the biggest lesson I took from this is honesty will get you hurt. The reason your parents tell you to be honest in a lot of cases when growing up is...
It's because they want to catch you lying.
Yeah, they want to catch you lying and just punish you. And then you go, I don't get it. I told the truth and I got hurt. Yeah, that's what tends to happen, and that's why a lot of people fall back into lying. That's why a lot of these guys were terrified about their audiences and everything. Some of the people over the years have gotten better. Some of them I don't really know. Others seem to let the pressures of the internet and where it's going right now really get to them. But with the discussions and talks that we had, like I said, I don't hold it against anybody if they hate us off of this. You're free to. If we were always the whiny pricks that you hated, okay. Fine, I mean, yeah, but you probably shouldn't have been watching it then. And if it's, well, I want to go watch them now instead of you, okay. If it's going to be, well, I'm going to go dig up things now and show that sometimes you laughed at offensive jokes. We did. I mean, we've never denied that. In fact, in the same stream, I was having a talk about, for example, like Drawn Together. That has nothing to do with any of this, by the way. If this is just his baseline, which, by the way, is very internet, that you go, it was about the slurs. Yeah, that's very surface level. That's very internet. But I remember that early on. I was starting to edit out some of the slurs in videos, and people got really angry about it. I didn't like that it was coming up in videos. I had my own moments in really old videos saying, like, stop doing that. Why are we doing this right now? Come on, you can't make a joke about that kind of thing. People already hated me very early on for that kind of thing, but I remember people saying, if they stop letting these slurs go through, I'm not watching anymore. And I kind of took it as a joke at the time and had to realize that's not a joke. No, these are the ways that sometimes people view the world around them, is stuff like that. It's just as simple as person says the fuck word. It's just something as important as that. No, we also were naive. We thought a lot of things were jokes when they weren't. We thought a lot of things were a lot more ironic than they actually were. We had to learn it all very quickly. We had to see people get hurt. We had to be hurt to a degree. We had to pick up on a lot and pick up on it very quickly that this is just where a lot is, sort of at. And with all of it as a discussion, yeah, that's the thing. If you guys haven't noticed now, anytime there's any slight bit of this coming out there that we didn't have a good time, it's always a thing that blows up, and it's always a thing to get a lot of people looking over at us again to be very upset about us existing. And no, we're not going to do a thing that we disappear this time, which, by the way, yes,
that didn't work either.
It's
you did that because some specific person told you to get off the internet, and then it didn't work anyway.
Well, we should be more specific. It's one of the friends you had.
Yes.
One of the friends you had just insisted on that, and even then, they were kind of upset anyways after taking the advice of it, because they were also hoping to get connections to a bunch of these things. Turns out that they really wanted to work on, like, smiling friends. We got to find out stuff like that. But also, threats were ramping up, so it made enough sense. And even then, when we did come back, it was only about a few months into streaming again that somebody went as far as driving out with a gun. On Christmas Eve, driving all the way out across the country with a gun, and also taping a bunch of things to the door, not realizing nobody lives there. They spent their whole Christmas doing that. But I'm supposed to feel like on my own end that I'm the problem on that one somehow too. And I'm not going to. I will say that. I'm not going to be feeling shame around these things. I know a bunch of posts are going to be just insisting that, of course, because I'm a stubborn prick or whatever. Just call me whatever you want at this point. You can just drop the slurs at this point. A lot of these guys are not holding back on that anyways.
I gotta go to the restroom. I'll be right back. So you can continue talking, but
okay.
I'll be right back.
But, yeah. If you guys want to know, why has it been so weird for us? Why has everything been so distant with us, too? Why is it a lot of people publicly weren't even saying things at the time, either? Well, this is why. It's the audience end of this, and how, specifically, can we get into what side of the audience it is? Is it a surprise that this is a Kiwi Ferns thing? It's the ultimate evil to speak up about a situation online, except if you're speaking vaguely about all of your other friends and throwing shade at them in videos and then admitting later that yes, you were talking about your other friends the entire time. Exception cases get made too. People online like a jerk. And if you're not going to play into some of that and you want to actually hear people out and have a conversation in the middle, they're also going to treat you like you're pretentious or full of yourself, or that there's some other kind of angle to it. We have been just upfront about these things for a very long time. The only thing that really changed this time, because like I said, all this stuff that I talked about on stream were things we've already talked about. You guys are slow on the draw on that one. It just shows that you, through your obsessions and living in the past, you didn't even keep up with the present to know that people already knew these things. But, yeah, it's a whole weird thing with that within itself, that honesty doesn't really matter. The truth doesn't matter. What matters is a good narrative. You can expect drama videos. You can expect... And by the way, me saying all this, don't worry. That'll also be the way to shut that down. Oh, hey, they're doing the thing that he said. Yeah. But here's the thing. Because I said it, that was bad too. Because that's me being paranoid once again about a thing that literally happened, and it's not paranoia. It's just recognizing that this is how people behave, because that's how they behave. I'm not afraid of it this time around. We already had so much happen. We've already had people for, like I said, almost a decade now, continuously trying to find where we live and showing up at our place. We already just had that incident, like I said, only about a year ago. It's like a year and a half now, where they came out to our home. And that was mid-stream. That was why they did it. They wanted it to be a thing that would happen during the stream. But their information was even outdated on that. We haven't been able to live normally. That's why I was kind of having some conversations with people off to the side coming off of that stream, because I saw the viewer count going up. I'm not stupid. Well, okay, I am stupid, but I knew what that one was at least, because, gee, we're completely irrelevant and off to the side. Nobody's paying attention to us. And then, because people keep insisting on bringing these things up, I have a moment of at least trying to explain to somebody what's going on and why everyone is going their separate ways. And now suddenly the viewer count gets really, really high, and now there's a bunch of new accounts that just got registered. I wonder what that could be. I'm well aware of these things. I worked for enough people over the years who are aware of these things. I was around edgelord communities when I was like 18 years old. I know what a lot of this looks like. I know where this stuff is coming from. And that's why I also know there's not really a winning this. You don't come out of this. You don't win this. Your reputation has been decided for you. It doesn't have to match reality. All that matters is if a big enough crowd can insist on a thing over and over again, that is what will become the narrative. It doesn't matter if the audio matches up with it. It doesn't have to. It doesn't matter if I was trying to give room to these things too. It's not going to be taken that way. The fact I said anything means I'm throwing somebody down or attacking them. It didn't matter that we would get scapegoated, because once again, well, if you're willing to say something almost 10 years later about a bunch of things, that means that we got impacted by a lot. Everybody did. I was worried for him too at certain points, by the way, with Chris. I was worried for Chris in a lot of cases, because since he was courting this stuff, yeah, he was getting a lot of weirdness around him, and it would overwhelm him. It would stress him the fuck out. If you guys are going to make this into a big drama of anything, I don't know. If he's going to reach out to me, I'd like to actually talk to him, I guess, because I always did just want to figure these things out with him. He's always been pretty resistant to just talk about this stuff. But I doubt that's going to happen. This is me being wishful thinking mode again. This is me getting into, hey, if you're calm enough about it, though, and you can be reasonable enough about it, I'm sure everybody could work this out down the middle. No, man, that was my mistake during Dream Daddy stuff, too. I was really hoping that if someone just got used to the idea of hearing, hey, you can have an opinion about this kind of thing, but it doesn't have to be the end of the world, and ultimately everyone could just talk about this. This shouldn't even have to be a thing that has to come up during a stream. It's a thing that could just be taken care of, like, behind the scenes. Well, it wasn't, and unfortunately, like I said, too, some of the Newgrounds people, that's why I'm not going to be in a position to be like it was everybody, but a very good number of them. That's the thing with a lot of that, too. They knew this stuff was going on, and some of them did treat it with some seriousness. I'd say with Zach specifically. Julian and I feel very different about that one. I'm not thrilled about some of the stuff that he believes in, and some of the stuff that he's kind of like doubled down on over the years. At the same time, I have had conversations with him, not recently, but as of like about a year ago, like 2 years ago. I did have some conversations with him. He reached out, and yeah, he specifically was even able to talk to me about some of the stuff because he remembers all of it. He took it seriously, the person coming out with the gun. He was the one telling me that I probably need to look into how I can like really file a report on that one because it's terrifying. And same response of going, what the fuck? Why would someone even say something like Sleepy Cabin 1? What the hell does that even have to do with anything here? Well, when you're not going to be having conversations with your audience or paying too much attention to your audience, or if you're in a position of just keeping silent and letting your audience do whatever it is they want to do, it can get to a point like that. I mentioned this one before. Somebody was impersonating me in like Linkara's server and then DM'd me about it because they thought I'd be like proud of them or something. You do need to have conversations with your audience because if you don't, it turns into something like this too. And I think that's a big part of the issue overall here. How do you actually genuinely navigate something like this? Can you? Is it just that you post stuff and you just don't say anything? Yeah, I think that's all you can really do. I think that's all some people would even want. They don't want reality being able to kind of interfere with their entertainment. It's an unfortunate thing. I knew it was going to happen eventually, though, like I said. Sorry, let me sit here, be heard a little bit better. Yeah, it was going to happen. We knew it was coming. That's why Julian had even just brought it up that he said, you know, it's probably coming up one of these days. Yeah. It's why we actually had prepped ourselves in advance. As soon as that happened, we had a raid attempt a few months ago. Somebody was getting into a discussion about Game Oververse, and I had somebody... I actually didn't find out about it until later. But I picked up something was obviously going on during the stream. I got to see a bunch of accounts got registered out of nowhere using VPNs. Lashing out at people in the chat who were trans. That's why I'll repeat a lot of the stuff I already talked about in that other stream. Don't worry, if you're going to chop down the video, I'll gladly talk about a lot of the things we also talked about again, without you being able to edit it. I don't have any fucking, like, limits with being able to just be honest about this. I'm willing to talk about it. It's not a thing of shame for me. And you're not going to scare me off of things by doing this kind of thing either, but, that's the thing with it. Yeah, I already could tell something was going on. We looked into all of it. Everybody in the chat recognized it because the people who have been around our streams for long enough know this stuff never ended. This stuff never went anywhere. It was last year on YouTube that we had a bunch of people lashing out. We had people really fucking angry because we were saying positive things about trans people. I brought that one up even during the stream last time. The Gooseworks had their window of, like, edgy commentary. Some of it that I definitely raised an eyebrow at. But some of it, too, that if you're going to be making wiggle room for other people, then wouldn't you be doing it here? Is it because trans artists? Is that what it is? What's the exception case? Why? There are exception cases being made. There are exception cases to where criticism can be, and where openness is allowed to be. But we didn't really know what was happening during that. It was clear something was happening. Everybody in the chat knew something was happening. Person eventually took off. And that was what I got to find out later. Somebody had emailed me about it to the contact email address. I think their account was Angel over on the website. That they found specifically, it was a 4chan thread where somebody was whining about Ross because, you know, go figure, Ross and Aaron get targeted all the time. And for no reason, somebody then brings us up when it has nothing to do with Game Oververse. And then they were trying to get a bunch of people to register over on the website. So, you want to know how long this has actually been going for, guys? Always.
Since the beginning, yeah.
It's not new.
I don't know even what incident you're talking about, because that just happens that often.
It was one, yeah.
And it's always this.
Enough.
It's always this fucking stupid and convoluted where you have to be this person did this person and this person.
Yes.
And that also implies that this person. Yes.
It's
fucking.
It's to feel interactive to them.
Fucking madness.
Like it to feel
but yes, a lot of people. Oh, is that way? You're talking about fandom side of things.
Oh yes.
Okay, yeah. People love that shit because it's like their favorite TV show. This is just like their favorite Japanese anime.
Yeah.
Biggest anime betrayal.
Mm-hmm. That's how it's being treated right now.
Hey, remember in 2017 when I made a post on Tumblr about how I felt like I was being dehumanized and treated like a fictional character? That was almost 10 years ago. I brought up earlier in the stream, way at the beginning. I mentioned something about like, oh, was that 10 years ago? That wasn't really 10 years ago.
Technically...
This was 10 years ago.
Yes. Well...
Next year it would be 10 years ago. 2017.
That's what I was going to say. Is technically like 9-ish years... But still the idea of this was a fucking decade ago. I can give some other examples of exception cases in modern web drama formats. James Rolfe, good example. Bootsy, who used to do videos with James Rolfe, eventually was making comments about how they didn't really get along with James and they moved on. Everybody gave them space because they don't like James. That's how these things kind of work, because couldn't you simultaneously go, why are you saying this? Oh my god, like, you could have just kept your mouth shut. You could have. But they didn't. Because it also depends on what side of the argument you're on here and what you're kind of favoring or where you kind of lean yourself. We already had people last year getting really, really angry about the fact that we're willing to be so open about things and that we're maybe not as hardcore right-leaning as they were hoping for us to be. There was a lot of insistence about us being self-hating gays or whatever, and, like, the hope for it. Specifically, you remember that guy trying to argue with you on Blue Sky, saying about how...
yeah, that was like a year ago, right?
Yeah. I think almost exactly at this point. No, they were getting really mad at you, saying how, like, no, you had it right when you felt like you were a degenerate and, like, subhuman, and because all gay people were embarrassing inherently. Dehumanization has been a big part of this. And that's why it's an awkward spot, because with Chris and everything, the way that he behaves, I know it's just because it's in response to all this.
He grew up in a society where this is normal.
Yeah.
I don't. To him, he doesn't feel like he's doing anything. At least I would hope, but he may be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at this point. Because once again,
it's also
he
been like
talk to me about it.
years since we talked.
Exactly.
We tried to have a conversation, and by we I mean me and Chris. I tried to talk to him about this stuff.
And didn't really go into it.
What, like 5 years ago?
I think 5 years ago. And he was
he was
or whatever.
Yeah, he avoided me for like a year. I think it was like a year that it took to have that conversation, and then it wasn't a fruitful conversation either.
After the finale thing, he said he didn't want to talk to you anymore, even though you never had a conversation. And same thing with my own end. You remember when I wanted to sit down with him and just talk with him at his house, and we did sit down, and then it was really awkward because you could tell he had a lot that he wanted to say, but he just didn't. And I feel like because of web pressures and everything too, when there's actual room to be able to resolve a conflict, he doesn't really know how to. And when I say something like that, I'm sure somebody would then take that as like a big insult or something. But the reason I'm willing to get into some of this too is I want people to also understand, with Chris, I know that he actually has room to not have to be, mean. He could be nice. We'd witnessed it on occasion. I could see that there was a heart buried down in all of that. But unfortunately, once again, when you grow up around all this, and this is the crowd around you, it starts impacting you and influencing you. And that's why he was making a lot of his own nervous decisions at the time, too, and then lashing out and kind of always pointing around at everybody around him. Which, unfortunately, that's the other spin this is being given, which is, but look at you, you're pointing around at everybody. Weren't all of you just pointing at Aaron? It's interesting that everyone's pointing at something. I don't think if there was a crowd that could be interacting with the entertainment itself this directly and it's controlling people's finances, that it would have done this. I think everyone would have gone along a lot better. I doubt they would have been bringing up rant grumps every day when we were back at the office. I doubt we'd have people really concerned about what Keemstar is going to think. I think we would have just had people hanging out and being friends again and just being able to go through all of it. And truthfully, at least on my own, and I won't speak for you, I guess. I don't know where you are on this one, but
go ahead.
It's all I ever really wanted to see happen was, can we just get past all of this? Because, yeah, there's pressures being felt here externally that are making everybody do this too. We have a lot of the stuff swirling around us, and because you guys are too nervous to have a conversation with people, then this is going to be the issue. And now you're going to all start turning on each other because there's the pressures of the audience. People wanted to make there be a rivalry between what we were working on, what Chris was working on, when truthfully, Chris's game was the game I was working on, and I gave him the source code for it because I didn't have time for it, because we were in the process of also trying to figure out moving down the road, and actually being able to schedule in our own work again, because we barely could get any time for anything when we were back in LA. You're saying that I'm competing against my own game, which doesn't make any sense. And Chris understood that here and there. Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he was heavily pressured by all of this going on. He understood that some of the people around us were actually making issue. He warned me about Matt. Everybody was just kind of in argument for a while because no one knew how to navigate any of this either. And that's the unfortunate thing, is because once again, who the fuck are we? We're gonna be at the bottom end of this.
I shouldn't have done that stupid macaroni.
I'm sorry that the macaroni's upsetting your stomach.
I took some Pepto. It was tasty. Maybe it's the maybe that's the last meal I'll ever have.
But yeah, the reason I even talked about that stuff is because I did express it numerous times. I never wanted there to be a conflict, obviously. And people going, well, there's a conflict if you say anything. Is that how you live life?
Yes.
If you have an argument with somebody else, do you seriously, you're just hell-bent at that point forward to never speak to that person again or ever acknowledge them, and you try to do everything you can to sabotage them, as opposed to sitting down, getting past the emotional state you're in, and trying to work it out and understand something down the middle?
Most people don't function that way.
Fuck me, then, because, yeah. I think
that's what you've been fighting your whole life, wouldn't you say?
I guess so. I just didn't want to see everybody in arguments like this. And then because we ended up having to get hurt so many times over by it, I can't also say anything about, hey, this did impact us, we'd like to be able to move on. If anything, with Chris and Matt, it got to be a lot cleaner. Because the thing is, people are very ready, like I said, to make their exception cases. People are already lashing out at Matt. I remember people getting angry at him at the time because he went to a Trump protest. And during all of that, yeah, when that happened, people were ready to go, yeah, he probably hurt you and everything, where it's like, how do you know that? We got to see that. Matt had brought it up too. We got to see that the audience is just ready to insist on things that there's no basis for. There's no evidence of anything. You don't know any of it.
And always seems to have an interesting political lean.
Yeah, that too. Politics finding their way into it when sometimes it has nothing to do with it. It was actually just mishandled social situations.
If you can handle mac and cheese, then yes, it is my recommendation that you should have some. But if you're lactose intolerant, don't go for it. I'm regretting it. I did consider to myself, I was like, should I really do this? And clearly I should not have.
Meta, I'll also get into this about that NDA. That came very much from the business side of things. If I even said it during that stream, and I'm pretty sure that probably got chopped out of a video, I did bring up, we got along a lot better when there wasn't business attached.
Yes. I would say that was the turning point. I do remember feeling that way.
Remember, we went to Knott's together, and it was a fun time. We would do stuff that could actually be fun and everything. We were usually treated like we were just workers. There still was conflict and everything, but that's because that's the business side of things. When the business side of things didn't need to be there, oh, sure, there could be good times. But they're very few and far between and only really early on. It was when the business started taking things over, merchandising became a priority, all these things, that it started getting really, really, really weird. And with a lot of the merchandising, in terms of the idea of just a lot of people not really even being talked to about it, that one across the board, that wasn't just us not really being talked to about it. I feel like I remember there was specifically a piece of merchandise that when they finally revealed it and it was about to get produced, that Chris even said, like, I don't want that. No. I don't like this. It was like some anime shirt design. I don't remember what it was. But a lot of that was being handled individually from everybody else. You remember Multiplayer Mondays, stuff like that? Management end was getting really, really heavily involved, and it switched up a couple of times too. So it made it really difficult to navigate too, because this can't just be treated as something fun. It's forcibly being demanded to be a business thing. And that's why expectations around it had to change too. Things really got warped around that one. That's why we didn't want to be a part of the merchandise stuff, because it was impacting friendship, and it was also impacting the quality of the work. It was impacting everything. Once that whole situation happened with the contract and the NDA and the merch payment and everything, that was the moment of, we gotta get out of here, I think. I think we just need to really get out of here at this point. I didn't want for it to happen, obviously, but I'm a fool on that one. I've definitely learned my lesson.
I mean, all these years I have said to you, I don't think you should feel bad for trying to be like a decent human being, because that's what, in theory, should be helping our species survive. But the unfortunate context for that is that our human society right now is built around doing the opposite of what would make us survive.
Someone said NDA for a Let's Play. NDA for something that is making a lot of money. That's what you guys have to keep in mind. I know people can also go, it's just video game videos. Believe me, I felt that way too at the start. Some of the comments that we'd make about, oh, you know, Let's Plays, those comments were coming about because behind the scenes, that's what everybody was doing too. There was a lot of dismissiveness about what the material was, but there was business attached to it. There was money attached to it, and that's what kind of changed everything. No, the stuff that happened is damaging enough, especially, like I said, not being able to even have conversations with people about it. That's why I never want to go back to these things. Chris and I are probably never ever going to talk again, especially with how everybody is acting about this just recently here. It's probably just not going to happen. I wish it didn't have to go that way, obviously. I've been wishing that since the start. But simultaneously, hey, there's the gentle surface level end. Here's what it's like to kind of be on our end of things. There's never any space ever given to us, no matter what. There's always a blame game going. There's always something where even just expressing that maybe you don't like a movie when that could be accepted through a lot of other people, that could still even be given a bit of a lean. And whatever that one. Subjectivity, who cares? But it matters a lot more when it's specifically like what I had mentioned earlier. Someone seriously drove out with a gun. And it was somebody tied to all of this. It was somebody who was a fan of all of this. And by the way, saying Sleepy Cabin 1, how much do you want to bet that a bunch of people going nuts about these things online and coming up with all their own narratives could have leaned them into that? Saying something like that makes it come off like you are perceiving this much differently than what the reality of it is. But like I said too, these people also got hit by the pressures of all of this and didn't really know how to navigate it, and sometimes it's easier to kind of let somebody else get impacted by it than having to be a mess for everyone. It's a whole unfortunate thing. I said it at the time too. It was my exact phrasing even during that stream. I know, like I said, Kiwi Farms crowd is going to make this into a big mess. I'm sure they're going to be going and fucking around on the website. And hey, to anyone who's coming from the website right now, do you remember how a few months ago we talked about this inevitably happening?
Yes. I mean, you've been warned. It's been almost every stream this year that you end it by going, hey, things might get crazy pretty soon. I guess we'll see. It still could be a bit longer, but yes, I would assume next stream on your website is going to be weird.
It's going to be hellish. It's going to be overly documented no matter what I do, which, okay, if people want to watch us play like a shitty Wii game. That's why some people are even like, man, he sat on the screen for a long time. You realize there was a whole stream beforehand. Oh, wait, no, you don't, because it got edited out. No, we end streams that way sometimes, because if I open the fan art gallery, it can actually crash OBS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have to rewrite.
Was that because of what you were talking about?
It's so old.
Outdated.
Yes,
yeah. I figured you meant the art that you wanted to cycle in.
The art is part of it, but it's so old too, and I made it in something that ran better on Windows 7 that it fucks with OBS really hard. So sometimes I just have to leave it on a screen. I have to preemptively get a bunch of things running before I boot up OBS and kind of handle it a certain way. I need to rewrite that software.
I don't even understand what that means.
What?
The thing that MetaJ says. It doesn't matter. They're trying to lighten the mood. I don't understand what it means. Go ahead. Just continue talking.
They're talking about suicide, I think? Is that what they mean?
I don't know. I don't understand.
That they think you talking about mac and cheese upsetting your stomach is code language for suicide baiting. These people are fucking insane. God damn.
You said,
and they're trying to call us crazy?
They said "ta-king," and I didn't understand what that meant.
Are you serious? I remember I put a kiwi bird in an opening and they thought, oh my god, is that a signal to us at Kiwi Farms? No,
I do remember that.
It's the fucking bird from Jumping Flash.
I do remember that.
No. My god.
They're kids.
Yeah,
they
want audience interaction. They want a theory craft. It's just a theory.
Yeah, at this point, when we passed 200 viewers, I was like, that's not necessarily out of the ordinary. Now we're up to 300. That is definitely, there is at least 100 people.
Once again, I knew what was going on. If they're talking about the stream in the comments, that's also what we're used to as well. They don't want to show their faces in the place at the time because, by the way, it might pop up in a recording that they take. It might look at make it look a little bit more iffy when you can actually see what the responses are like based on what's actually being said. But no, that was how the raid attempts would always go too, and that was the same thing that happened when the person did come out with the gun. A lot of people didn't want to say what they were in, but I know what they were in. I got to hear about it later. We got to find everything. They were in a Discord call, and it was like 6 different people that came into the chat warning us about it, that somebody was streaming video of themselves in Discord, driving all the way out to where they thought we lived, with a gun in their like front seat, and that they were armed, and that they were coming by, and that they were going to try to make a big thing happen during our stream. And that was what they were doing, was that they were driving around the entire town and everything. They were trying to document as much as they could, and ultimately, they weren't even at the correct address. They taped a bunch of things to the door.
For those of you who don't know the story already, because we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and I'm sure they shorthanded it, or people just in the video comments are going to go, that didn't happen. Okay, it did. Anyways. Yeah, they did all of that. They, once again, the Sleepy Cabin 1 comment.
Guy with 3 eyes, yet to a certain extent, yes. No, the government is not trying to kill us specifically, but yes, just generally creating chaos by raising a population that's like extremely angry and like that they dislike intellectualism.
But hey, if you guys ever needed a clue in about how people feel about us, at least here's your clue in as well. If you're wondering why things kind of changed after we moved away from this stuff, this is why. This has been going on since the very beginning. And in terms of this gun incident, it wasn't the first. When we were back in LA, like I said, there was a whole plan that somebody was trying to make. That they were mapping out the place and everything and seeing how funny it would be if somebody came by and did something. When I was suicidal back at the time, Julian he was directly there for it. It was a conversation just between the three of us that I said that, yeah, you know, after a few weeks of everybody completely like ditching us and everything, I was at my lowest point and I was going to hurt myself. Julian stopped me from doing it. During all of that, that was when we also had someone just go, yeah, but you know, it'd be really funny though, you know, if it did, like, yeah, Suicide Note got left, and they did blame, like, and they didn't say even Game Grumps. They said Aaron and Susie. They were more specific about it. Because that seems to be what everyone wanted to feed in here from the start. We really did get wrapped up in everybody else's shit on that one. Whatever obsessiveness is around those guys kind of got to carry over onto us, and because we're sort of at the bottom of this food chain here, it's what makes it a lot easier to just make all this kind of shit go and happen.
I'm very sorry, Bunny Scruff, because yes, that's how I feel. I set out today to just try to focus on work and have a decent time.
Yeah. We've been trying to do this for years that we just
I didn't expect that today was going to be the day, but whatever. It's here now.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry that if we end up, you know, mysteriously vanishing, so to speak, or something like that, that I was not able to fulfill all the game projects that I wanted to do. But I knew it was going to be a possibility that this shit was going to get us killed, so here we are, I guess.
No.
I'm very sorry, because yeah, a lot of people in chat are talking about like how stressful this is. I've been having this on my mind every day for like the past 10 years. And that's why I've gone crazy. That's why I'm like, I can't relate to other human beings anymore.
But we knew it was coming. Even on the thing of mysteriously disappearing, that was just like a month ago we told people about that, right?
Mm.
That if we just suddenly vanish, just keep in mind, no, we were not suicidal. No, it's not that we did something to ourselves. Something like that probably ended up happening. It was a really weird one to have to take in, the person who did come out with the gun. Because it was, you know, we can kind of have a little bit of a laugh about it, I guess. You know, it was ineffective. We called the police about it.
I mean, it
was also, oh god, this could always happen again now.
Yes. Werma, don't feel bad or anything. I'm just telling you for the future that, like, let us know if something like that happens. Even if we already know, it's better that we actually have information so that we can stay safe. Or at least, you know, do what we can.
But if you guys want to know, even with the context of the video, because it seems like people pieced it together already, that yeah, it's a Kiwi Farms effort they're trying to make right now. And like I said, the Chris Chan thing probably got some eyes over on us again. I still don't get that one. I don't know why Chris Chan was even trying to make their way over. I did not feel good about that at all.
They just got in Mugenics. They probably feel like, hey, this is my time to shine.
That's all I could think, is it's Mugenics and Smiling Friends that made them think that we're connected to that. The way that a lot of other people still think that, and still insist on these things, and get very angry that we don't want to be a part of any of this. That it's because of our egos. And now all this gets to be treated as, no, see, it's their egos again. Talk about having an ego, you don't want to be shot? I'm sorry, I don't. No, I'd like to not be shot by a random fan of YouTube content that I don't even have anything to do with at this point. But if you guys knew the behind the scenes, like I said, this has been happening almost like every few days. It always comes up again. We don't have to say anything. We don't have to do anything. It's just going to keep coming up. We're not really allowed to go make our own thing happen. We're not really allowed to make our distance. There's people, because, you know, if you're going to obsess, by the way, about Christine Chandler for 20 years, you're also going to obsess about this for 10 years, and potentially 20. I know you can try to sling it off onto somebody else going, no, but if you respond, that means my responsibility is alleviated and it's onto you now. But no, you're obsessing about it because you wanted there to be more harm happening, and you don't like the fact that we're still doing things. And fine, I said it even during that stream, you don't have to. You don't have to like us. We accepted that long ago. You don't have to. If it's, you're so whiny, okay, to each their own. I also thought it was really whiny getting to hear everybody complaining about females in video games for like a decade. But I guess that's not whiny, and this is. It's going to be based on your outlook. Everything is subjective when it comes to things like that, ultimately. You don't have to like us. You don't have to watch us. We were fine with people kind of leaving us alone, but at the same time, they weren't going to, and they haven't been. As soon as we came back to doing things, it was a lot of stuff just kind of making their way out there again. And even when we left, people theory crafted and made up all their own narratives for that one, too. Oh, it's because, during these streams, clearly something must have happened. What happened was that we were seriously getting threats badly enough, coming off of so much of this, that we couldn't really handle it anymore. And we also have friends encouraging us over and over again to just stop doing things online. Which, by the way, did not solve it. If anything, it put us into more danger, because we couldn't even be there to stand up for ourselves. That's why we have to kind of be in a spot to do that here. But, yeah, talking about your own experiences and everything is going to make people really angry. Really, really, really angry. And because there was a desperation to get us to never say anything behind the scenes, it's why now externally it gets to be viewed as a betrayal, even though I'm pretty sure the betrayal was trying to put somebody on an NDA in perpetuity to never be allowed to speak about anything that happened to them, or it could even be perceived as a problem, which, by the way, as you guys are seeing through this, even slightly indicating that something was up, could be perceived that way, as some kind of slight against a brand. Everyone is too caught up on the entertainment side of it. Everybody, I think, was excited about the fact that I almost hurt myself during 2017 and would like to push forward on that further, too. And I guess that's why somebody was even hoping to accelerate it by literally just coming out with a gun. And it's a pretty fucked up spot to be in on that one. But, you know, that's going to be the other thing. You're not seeing people insisting that Julian saying that his lactose intolerance just got him sick is code language for something.
I mean, to be fair, I shouldn't have done it. It was a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, but that's not what...
I know, I'm joking.
I know, but that's like the most ridiculous thing already here. Talk about being desperate to try to make this into something more than it really is. But I get it. I said things that are going to be taken as negative towards it all. You're going to theory craft and try to make it a lot worse because we were already people that others didn't like. I've at least given the context at this point, and like I said, the Band-Aid is ripped off. We've talked about these things for years. It's only getting noticed here because of what was happening with your plush post from literally a decade ago. Resurfacing.
Which nobody had nobody had any compunctions with it until just now, which is interesting.
Well, they kind of did.
Oh, sure, people got mad at it, but like it wasn't. They didn't need to start a whole thing.
No. Did you get emails?
You're talking about recently or at the time?
Yes, recently off of that.
No.
Okay.
Did I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm sorry that everything
three of my emails.
I'm sorry that everything that I do always gets attributed to you.
I mean, that's not what I'm concerned about. If anything, I feel bad on that too, that people don't take you as like an individual. That thing that you were already complaining about being like dehumanized. It gets to go with that too. We get to be treated like the same person. It's why people can make lump sum statements about both of us over and over again when we are two people. We are two different people. But, yeah, how about that? People are still going to keep making this a thing. And I made my quote-unquote mistake, which was acknowledging the same things I've already acknowledged, and a lot of this is just a continuation of what I already brought up previously anyways. And someone would go, well, you were more direct this time. We've talked about this already. Talked about it at the time too.
We've been talking about it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things that I've been waiting to mention. At one point, Chris literally said to me, I don't remember if you were there or not. Chris literally said to me, you are free to tell everybody everything that happened.
Yeah, he
because
did.
he wanted me to say bad things about other people.
Yes. He was encouraging me to talk about Aaron all the time, too.
And so that's partially why I've been pretty outspoken about things. I just didn't name specific names.
Yeah.
I said the things that we went through, and that's been out there. People have known for many, many years. They just ignored it when it was inconvenient.
Yes.
And now we've gotten to the point where we can't ignore it anymore.
Yes. Because now it's a little too connected, and now people can't just go and swing it all at the one person they wanted to swing it at. So now we're the problem. It goes in line with everything I talked about during the stream. I mentioned people weren't genuinely sympathetic during all of that when it happened. In fact, they were thrilled that we got hurt. The only thing that anyone was giving it was that they wanted to swing it back at Aaron. That was all they cared about. Aaron knew that too. And at the time, a lot of people really did want to get Aaron hurt in some cases as well. As time went on, then it was, yeah, I don't want to hear about him anymore. I wish this didn't have to be happening. But that's the issue. When you feed into this shit and you start doing some of this, you're gonna get people doing it forever. Yeah, it really should have just been video game videos. It really should have been. But business got in the way, and so did also the pressures of what internet culture is. But that said, I think it's a lot more reasonable to think that Julian's macaroni and cheese comment is like side baiting, and if you 4792 and which by the way, that's not a real thing. I'm using an example of it just starts sounding like babbling and doesn't make any sense anymore, because that is also the kinds of people who tend to obsess about this. People who don't make a lot of sense. People who are just kind of conjuring up their own reality for the sake of just making conflict. How is it that someone can talk about something like that incident with a gun, for example, and then you go, that was bad of you to say that? You know, you're not talking to a serious person at that point, obviously. Macaroni and cheese comment thing really lends itself to something there. But that's why they're doing it.
It's pretty wacky.
They're doing it because, yes, we're around. That post exposed people to the fact that we're around again. A lot of people tried to make a whole resurgence happen on things that Julian talked about a decade ago. And then the things I talked about during that stream were from a decade ago to like fucking 5 years ago. And if you're wondering, yes, Chris has to deal with a lot of it too. And that's why sometimes he's also getting so frustrated himself. The way that he handled the Eek finale was very messy, but I know he was also doing it because after he said...
He knew that people were going to attack him.
Yes. That's why he wasn't sure how to handle it, and that's why sometimes he was throwing it more towards our direction, because he felt like, well...
At least shift the blame.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. Yeah, this is why I've been telling everybody fandom's a bad idea. It drives people crazy.
No, I didn't say I didn't create Bulbo. I did the original source code for it. I told the story on the stream. Did they cut it out from the video? Because it's only a 40-minute video. Did they cut that one out just because that's context? It was supposed to be for a fake finale because we were going to be moving on from everything.
Well, MetaJ, their point is that they may have been making it up anyway.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, the context on that one was supposed to be for a fake finale video that he wanted to have like a fake argument because he prioritized that a lot. Because I think, once again, you're too afraid of the audience. You want to make things look a certain way because of how the audience is going to act. And he wanted to have a fake fight in front of everybody, and that he wanted us to play a fake game. And that I would make a fake title screen for it, and we would just fight on the title screen. But then he wanted a level. And then he wanted more and more, and eventually it got to the point of, listen, I get it, you want to have a full game here, actually? So he was saying, maybe we could even put it on Steam and we charge like $1 for it. And I said, no. Here, I'll give you the source code. He found somebody who's going to be the new programmer, and I even went into a Discord group with the two of them and tried to talk him through the source code and just say, here's the starting point and everything if you want to work with it. Here's how you can do these things with it. I just gave all the work that I had. But that's why that one is a weird thing. No, he made the characters and everything. It's his idea. It's just the game itself, the game portion of it. No, that was the thing that I was asked to do, and it was partially the reason it got, like, started as a project between the two of us. He knew that I wanted to do game stuff, and he already had been suggesting previously in the past about doing game stuff. But then it was always kind of shaky because of how certain elements could be. Maybe I'll post it at some point. I think the best one that we were coming up with was that it was a Resident Evil style game.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Where the main character was kind of like a parody of a few different like angry game reviewers. But like dressed up in over-the-top like anime armor. He had like little metal pads on his knees. He had like big metal boots that he was wearing. And it was supposed to be a game where you're in like a haunted mansion and you're recording like a ghost hunting series, like you would see on like reality television. You had like a crew with you and everything, but you very literally would beat up the ghosts. That it's supposed to be kind of like a Garth Marenghi, that this is like a game that's supposed to be existing as sort of like a power fantasy for the creator of it. That you're seriously like suplexing ghosts and like beating up ghouls. It was a whole fun thing to work on, but that was what happened too, was too much has to go into this kind of thing. And I think Chris gets a bit overwhelmed when there's too much that is required to kind of make something happen. And fair enough. When you're juggling all this other shit too,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
We were talking about that at the beginning of the stream before things went nutty.
Yeah.
You should probably keep talking in the way you're doing. I can tell people are getting bored because the viewership is slowly trickling out again.
Aw, man, really? Darn. Is this not clippable? Is this not trendable right now? Sorry. If it's exhausting for you guys, it's exhausting for us too, and it's exhausting for Chris too, and it's exhausting for Aaron too, and it's exhausting for everybody.
Are you, Kitman, are you talking to me or are you talking to the other people? Because I could check my whispers if you need me to, if it's important, but if you're talking to other people, then they can handle it. No, it looks like they're talking to Worma. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't very feastable, you're right. But unfortunately, like I said, it's why I was warning you guys. This has been here the whole time.
Yeah, it's not a new thing.
It's why whenever we release a new thing, people get angry and try to make a fight of it. It's why, usually it really is just as simple as kind of say the opposite. We continuously were giving refunds to people since the very beginning on stream. So call us thieves. No, it doesn't have to make sense. Who cares? No one's really paying attention to what we're doing anyways. Just kind of say whatever. Just say the opposite. The macaroni was a code language. And you know, there's cheese in macaroni. Cheese, S-H-E-E-S-E. There's 3 E's in that word. The 3 E's. E3!
I shouldn't have said anything. It went back up.
Darn. No, you have absolute just bonkers people how they hover around this stuff too. Which, by the way, I wonder what the fuck it's like for professional wrestlers. That you have to maintain a performance enough so that...
Well, that's why they didn't like it, yeah.
It was so heavily enforced that
which was the one,
much legal trouble.
Yeah, which one was the one that was like upset with Ed McMahon?
Vince McMahon, right?
Oh, I said it. Yeah, you're right. I said Ed McMahon.
Vince McMahon, and like all of them? That's why there was the whole thing happening.
Oh, okay. I thought there was like one notable
like everybody had things to say. There were all sorts of things
to say, but I'm saying lawsuit.
I mean, there were multiple lawsuits. There's a sexual like abuse one that was happening more recently. There was the footage of him just like a few months back that he went speeding in a sports car and almost like killed somebody, and then came out of the driver's seat looking like completely drugged out of his mind. No, he would betray people all the time. He fucked with his wrestlers all the time. There's so many stories about all of it. One of the first lawsuits was about steroids within the organization. But kayfabe was very strict, and there'd be a lot of threats being happening behind the scenes if you ever broke this, that they could hold you like even accountable for it, like legally. So you have to live a lie for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And by the way, the audience thinks you're something that you're not, and if anything ever looks any different than that, they're gonna feel betrayed and blame you.
I'm gonna guess that it's still less intense than YouTuber drama.
I would assume because
YouTubers
are at the point that they're like shooting each other.
Oh well, that too, but yeah, definitely that things get crazy. But I'm thinking more so because I think the reason that people get so attached to YouTubers is they feel a personal connection. YouTube is called YouTube because the implication is supposed to be, hey, this is just some little guy. They're just like you, and that makes people feel more personally attached than like a celebrity that they don't like see every day.
I think the weirdest part of all of it is just every single time that this plays out, it does always just resemble, like, literally exactly what I'm even saying in the clips that they post.
Yeah,
But
it
they
does.
still do it anyways.
Right. Because that's what I was
Like the
saying about
video
the.
that went up a year back that I even say in the clip that they use that the only
You're
reason someone would be doing
always
this-
predicting things. You point it out when we're watching movies and things. Unfortunately, no, I don't think they get any sense of
No, they don't.
of irony there because
I think that's what makes them argue harder, if anything.
Yeah.
They don't like the fact that someone can directly call it out for what it is, so they gotta go even harder. There's a lot of lack of self-awareness that has to go into it, and then when I say that, how much do you want to believe a comment will now just pop up to go, lack of self-awareness? You're the one with the lack of self-awareness! Like arguing with Stu Pickles. You're an absurd proposition! You're not talking to people who are being serious. You're actually talking to people who are kind of fucking losing it. Which, once again, that's why you get someone driving out to your house with a gun. We're in a really fucked up time when it comes to, like, how entertainment is taken in by audiences.
The human race may not survive.
And it's also because entertainment was supposed to placate
Yes.
audiences.
Yes, it makes you shut up and get distracted so you don't.
Yes, and you
don't
get to be
do
distracted
things in your
by
community.
conjured up narratives and storylines and everything to lean you a certain way, to get you used to certain things, to make you take it in and start adhering that to culture around you. But through all of that, there's also the internalized fear of, if we lose control over the audience, what do you think they're going to do? They're not ready for the real world around themselves. They don't know what any of this fully looks like. They're going to feel like they were betrayed, too. How far could they take that? How much might they lose it? I assume a lot of people working in these industries are convincing themselves, to a certain degree, that they're a necessary force, because if there wasn't a distraction like this for people, people are also so easy to, like, get to a point of exploding in fury and really taking things too far. At least when you're getting mad about a, like, fake situation between wrestlers, it was something you manufactured and that can be controlled a lot more easily. When it has to broaden out to the world around you, you're gonna have people fighting each other in the streets. It could break out totally into chaos. And we're seeing how it is already breaking into chaos because now anyone can monetize anything.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, how much you want to bet that reupload is going to become monetized pretty soon here too? People can make money off of the suffering of others right now very easily, thanks to where entertainment is at too. This is just how things are. I don't know. I think it kind of went into everything, really.
I'm very sorry. You seemed really heartbroken when you came in.
More so disappointed that it was as obvious as this. I had only just woken up where my messaged me about it, and funnily enough, like I said, I had already messaged a few people right off of the stream, because I kind of knew something was going to happen. It was a suspicious viewer count. I knew stuff was kind of going on there, and that's why I guess they had to edit it down, because, yeah, no, I was willing to get into a lot. If people are going to argue about the political side of this or something and get obsessed about that, man, that's why some of the people are hovering around this too. They think that some of these guys feel a certain way without really knowing, and if you know their past and everything, you know, they took things pretty far. I think that's why some people hate me. I used to be around a lot of people who took things too far. And I had my own moments of stupidity with that when I was a lot younger. It's also why I moved away from all of it at, like, age 19, 20. I was picking up on it that people shouldn't have to be acting this way. And even then Game Grumps and OneyPlays especially had to be a big lesson. So that's something to keep in mind about all this as a thing too.
I'm very sorry to everybody.
It's a much bigger mess than even just what happened here.
Specifically the people who want it to be normal.
Yeah.
And like...
We've wanted it to be normal too. We have to. There's pressures from a lot of people at this point who want to see kind of the worst things happen to everyone involved. But, like I said, you're kind of free to talk about whatever you want in relation to this at this point. I'm not
Alrighty.
going to limit you anymore.
All right, cool.
So if you have anything you want to say, like, feel free.
That's certainly going to change the dynamic because I've had to train myself to bite my tongue.
I know. What I will say about this one is I will give a preemptive warning. Julian and I do feel kind of different about these things. In a lot of cases, when I did talk about this stuff, it's because it was getting to Julian enough that I kind of, like, would just have to go and say something eventually because something would just push too far and something would need to be said. But then there was the fear of, Julian, are you going to be able to hold your composure together, or are you going to maybe push it a little bit too far? But on my own end, I clearly just pushed it too far by trying to remain calm by all of it. So, yeah. Just keep in mind that you're going to have people who are going to be, you know, copy and pasting literally everything you say and give it a bad interpretation, just intentionally so.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, I think you kind of don't care because you've already had everyone doing this to you for God knows how long. Both of us.
I'll do my best to try to be open without being reckless.
Okay. That's all I was ever worried about. I just didn't want there to be like...
I may still fuck up. You may not end up liking what I say about it.
I wouldn't want there to be some kind of situation that you
I will
speak
try.
to something you don't know about.
I'll make an active effort to be better.
What would you want to like talk about in regards to it?
I wouldn't want to talk about any of it.
Obviously.
Just more so when it comes up, I'm going to get to say, yes, this is directly because of OneyPlays, basically. In the past, I had to avoid saying the word OneyPlays.
Yeah. And people
now
did pick up on that one.
I can I can say OneyPlays ruined my life. And now, like, it doesn't need to be an issue. Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, once again, here's the difference. We can now show this on the stream for everybody. Here's a fun part of the stream. That statement you just made.
Is that still bad?
What I would have said behind the scenes was, because you just said OneyPlays ruined your life, that's a really good audio clip to have, because it doesn't say enough, and someone can easily turn that into whatever it is they want. They don't like statements where you're in length actually getting into something, which is why they always edit me down.
Mm-hmm.
Because then there's less to be able to work with. You can be too specific and clear. But when you say something like that, it can sound hyperbolic. Someone can make that be turned into a whole...
But you've also gotten to see that when you expound, they just flip that out anyway.
That's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying a thing of like, oh, that's the better way to approach it. That's what
You're just explaining why there's a difference between how we tackle things.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
No. That's all I'm getting at here. Someone even just said, can't wait to see that clipped on Twitter. Yeah,
probably.
Exactly, yeah. That's the kind of thing. I think cool stuff sucks.
Lerma says check DMs. Okay. Thank you. I don't like having to pause my work, but I'll do this.
I mean, neither of us like having to pause our work. A good amount.
I'm not seeing anything from Lerma.
Are you on the right thing?
I'm checking all of them. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, where's the DM? I'm not seeing it either here. Because I'm looking at Julian on his computer at the moment.
Get out of here.
Oh yeah, send it to Julian because I'm in the room with him right now. You guys need therapy because of the video. Of course they did. By the way, in the video...
I do need therapy because of OneyPlays.
And we also mentioned in the video we don't have money to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys want to help us do that then? Or do you just want to say get therapy, mental illness over and over again?
No.
You seem more concerned.
Definitely, for sure. When you look at
that actually happened.
When you look at it from the perspective, if you say mental illness, if you say fucking schizo, whatever the fuck, is the attitude, don't listen to that person.
Yes.
Then that's the problem.
Yes.
If you see somebody who is mentally ill, you get them some help. You don't make fun of them you don't say bad. That's not how it would work.
No.
If you're trying to be good. let's suppose that that's an issue. Yeah, then yes, go to therapy should not be an insult. Okay, thank you, Werma. Appreciate it.
So they are making threats again.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Which is a normal thing to do when you're bothered by somebody talking about this kind of thing. You start saying how you're going to drive out to their house again.
Oh my god.
No.
I'm sorry. Me treating it flippantly makes it sound like I don't think it'll happen.
No,
it's just I have to treat. I have to treat.
We already had it happen.
I have to treat everything with like at least a little bit of humor because otherwise,
Yes.
But no, they probably are serious about it. I would assume.
Completely, they're serious about it. And if they're not serious about it, okay, great. You overreacted to something really minuscule, anyways.
There's nothing we could do, Wampulator.
No, there's nothing we can do, Wampulator.
Sorry.
We never could. That's why this is a whole thing that's been ongoing this long, and that's why everyone's striking right now. Because now they can't aim it at the right person anymore. We shattered the narrative they wanted to have, and now it's a bad thing for us because how dare we betrayed everybody. Betrayal meaning we got impacted.
You don't know that it's. You don't know that they are saying betray. I don't know what their actual rhetoric is right now. And I wouldn't be interested either.
No, I wouldn't really be either.
I would. You can come up with whatever rhetoric you need to like justify being malicious.
Yeah. The moments we live through, by the way. That's not going to change no matter how many emoticons you attach to it, or how many internet posts you make. We know what our own experiences are, and so does everybody else too. That's why everybody was living in fear of all this, though. Once again, hey, if this is the kind of response you get when you are upfront about something, why do you think everybody else was so afraid to be upfront about something? Everyone could have been much better friends if they also didn't have to have pressures like this. There's an encouragement sometimes to kind of throw somebody under only because people act this way. That's why even like the public firing thing that happened very briefly, that went the way it did because it was the paranoia about how the audience was going to take it.
Yeah.
And trying to insist we need to do a big apology video, and I had to be the one to go, there doesn't even have to need to be an apology video. What? You made a post about how we're not going to be doing videos anymore because you jumped the gun a little bit here. There doesn't need to be an apology video. If anything, that's going to make it all worse.
Is this lower or higher? This is lower. Just a little bit. I sure hope we get to finish our game.
Yeah, I would like to. I really would like to.
I was already talking about being
to move repeatedly and do all this.
I was already talking about being unsure beforehand, but now I have to worry about getting killed again.
It's okay. It's a big joke. It's just a big joke. Unless... no, it's a joke. Unless... By the way, if this is getting clipped right now, people get to see we're working on stuff.
No, they're not gonna capture the.
Keep up on
they're not gonna capture the. Are you kidding me? No. What you do is
the audio,
you get the audio and then you go, look, they're wasting time on this instead of working.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't matter anymore.
Or it's still working on it?
There is potential that this could still be okay because, yeah, now I don't need to hide things.
No.
That's going to be a little bit of like a better, that's going to be a little bit of a better.
I don't have to re-explain myself over and over again either. Neither of us do.
And, yeah, it like makes it more obvious what the problem is, which has always been a thing. Whenever there's drama, there are... There are at least a few people being like, this is fucking bananas.
Yeah, someone even just said the comments are already talking about the Only Plays comment. Isn't that fucking crazy that they're like living in a YouTube comment section right
Yeah,
now?
someone, I don't know if it was the same person, but somebody else was like, "Oh, it's really weird to watch this
Play out in real time?
Yeah.
Hey, so by the way, it's because they're not used to this kind of thing either. They're not really used to this. They're used to just bullshitting and making pressure and just going from there rather than people kind of responding to it live on the spot, and you get to see both ends of this. You get to see the people demanding the conflict and all the things they're insisting on when you're literally hearing the people talking, and you get to see that it doesn't match up. That's how these things tend to go. Big surprise, the people who formed a whole community obsessing about Chris Chan maybe sometimes just do stupid shit to try to force conflict.
Yeah, that's really weird. Do you see this? It keeps happening.
What?
That
Oh, you're right.
that it duplicates it.
Probably because the name of the website is like filtered on Twitch. Yes, the comment section for that video seems to be like a Kiwi Farms thread right now. And like I said, people were already bringing it up, and I will bring it up too, because maybe you guys can even see if it happens. The uploader has been intentionally deleting comments from anybody who's giving better context or actually saying anything more positive towards our end. They very, very desperately want to make this into the end of the world for us right now.
It may be.
It might be.
I hope they don't succeed.
No, people go with it. This stuff is hot right now. People like this kind of thing.
Yeah, I know.
So, yes, no, they might be able to. This might be the thing that ends up ruining our lives even further. It could be. The only reason we're trying to, get through it anyways is because, once again, this is how we've been living. This is what you're actually getting to see the truest form of what it's like for us right now.
I'm very sorry. No,
This is happening while we're just working the whole time, and that people are screeching off to the side while we're still just trying to make work.
I've tried my very best to keep a smile on when we're streaming those gameplay stuff. But it's very difficult because this stuff is always in the back of my mind. It has been just constant for the better part of a decade.
Oh no, they have context how the website's horrible people. No! And we know Kiwi Farms is a source of wonderful, kind people. Let me guess, you screenshotted somebody saying something that's perceived to be left-leaning. So now they're a horrible person for it. I don't even have to see it, I can already kind of go with that.
For me, it's just like, how bonkers is it that people keep pretending like it's a sudden development?
Yeah,
they're just not paying attention.
If anything, they're thrilled right now that at least they're getting something.
How long has it actually been? Because I keep shorthanding it to a decade. That's probably not exactly
If
right.
we're talking about the Dream Daddy incident, that was 2017, around like springtime, I think. So it's been over 9 years. It's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a lot of the stuff that
just
happened
as long as we've been saying
weird, that was
things,
2018.
As long as so slightly less than a decade. Still, it's not an entire decade.
And we're talking about the merchandising stuff.
Specifically, that we've been saying things. That
Yes.
we've been saying, hey, these are problems that we have. People have been harassing us, etc. Like that kind of thing. I think we've been saying the entire time.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We're gonna keep doing Wii Wednesday and PlayStation.
Yeah, no, we have to continue going.
Yeah, we're not gonna stop.
What do we have? Like, we don't have
that already.
We don't have money to like hide or something.
We're not gonna go into hiding off of this.
We just have to keep going.
We're gonna keep going. It's funny too that now they want to even conjure conspiracy theories about the website. No, it's like a secret evil meeting of the minds. Do you guys ever like actually read your own posts? You act crazier than the people you're trying to make fun of.
They want it. You have to make it exciting. You want it to feel like the latest episode of Shaolin Showdown. You know what I mean? Like they want everything to feel like the biggest deal. Oh, I see. I was trying to target the wrong one. Yeah, next stream is going to be really weird. At least this is a dev stream. It's a slightly less weird to have this kind of conversation.
Sure.
But when there's going to be like, fucking like Kirby 64 going in the background, it's going to be even weirder.
But what is Kirby 64? I've got proof of the bad website. Look at Kirby. He shot a missile at a cat. Who does that? Who does that? Don't mess up. Someone said in the chat, we're just trying to bring back GamePro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question.
Uh-huh.
Should I delete everything that's in the block terms list?
To just let it all go so you guys can see how nutty they're acting sometimes? Sure.
Or that I can directly call it out when it comes up from now on?
I'd say directly call it out at this point. They're not going to stop. They're going to be relentless.
No, I know they're just going to keep going.
Because what they're excited about is the prospect of maybe getting someone unstable enough to seriously come out with a gun again.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys at this point kind of know that they have the power to make that happen. It was why it happened to begin with. And once again, repeatedly, not just once.
I hope the website doesn't stop being fun for people.
Yeah. We knew it was coming once again.
We did.
It was like
You kept warning people.
It was like 4 months ago I warned people about it.
You kept warning people.
I knew it was coming. It was the beginning of this year that we talked about it. We knew it was coming. We knew it was all...
It's 2026. Everybody's gone mask off and we had to do it too.
Oh yeah? Well... How about this thing you said from 12 years ago? And by the way, stop holding people accountable for things that Shadman said about like 5 years ago. But here's this thing you did like 11 years ago. You're just going to have people doing whatever shit to try to make problems happen. I think people picked up on that with the website, why we even had some people saying, this just feels different. It does feel different. You guys are probably used to this kind of thing. YouTube, the front page is just a bunch of people posting drama content all the time. You're probably used to the fact that people get rewarded right now for getting engagement going by starting fights. By the way, that person who uploaded it is trying to get engagement going by starting fights. That is where the internet is at. It's what it thrives on. It's why some of the people who get popular and everything end up in those positions. Because, yeah, negativity. It sells. People see a little bit of themselves in it, and it excites them. And when those two fucking whiny gay guys are there, ooh, it makes it easier to do all of this, but... No, I'm sorry. If this was like 2018 again, yeah, maybe this would have actually felt a lot scarier. It doesn't feel scary. Yes, it feels pathetic to a degree, but it also is just, we knew this was coming. When people were already lashing out last year for us being willing to talk about some of this stuff, somebody blowing up on not Twitter, sorry. I was about to call Blue Sky Twitter.
Because they're almost the same thing now.
Yeah, they're almost the same thing. A lot of the shitty same people are running it. That you had that guy who came over to Blue Sky and was just jumping on you and just sending paragraph after paragraph after paragraph whining about the fact that you said trans rights and getting really angry and saying how they only liked you when you said you were subhuman and all gays are bad, where you never even said anything like that, obviously. And you even knew what they were trying to like mince your words on and call them out on the spot. But we knew probably as early as that and the person coming out with a gun that it was inevitable. Eventually it would push too far. People were going to keep demanding to bring everything back to the past again, saying it's our fault, though, because if we ever react, it's our fault. You flinched, 2 for flinching.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that. 2 for flinching. That is very much what it's like, yeah.
I mean, during that stream, I compared it to the Tim Robinson bit with the guy with the water bottle. He goes, "You flinched! Now you have to marry your mother-in-law!" And they go, yeah, that's the rule. You have to marry your mother-in-law. You flip the bottle.
I like it because that's when the like director of the meeting finally jumps in.
Yes,
he's been trying to get
the one guy who's been silent the whole time. Just goes, just marry your mother-in-law. Oh. Everyone turned on him. Don't acknowledge your situation unless you're complaining about somebody who's like already deemed acceptable to go after. That's kind of how things operate at this point. And oh my god, if you say anything that could even be taken as like leftist, whatever that means. For example, Democrats in the U.S. Oh, they're leftist. Hillary Clinton? Far fucking from it.
Unfortunately, you just pissed off a bunch of Democrats too.
Oh no! God damn it! Shit, and that was probably the most evil thing you could do. If you
I have seen
Hillary Clinton.
I have seen people get really mad if you say bad things about Hillary Clinton or like.
I could go on for hours about bad things about Hillary Clinton.
Kamala Harris.
Harris. I could go on plenty too.
I know you can, but like, yeah, a lot of people get really mad about that.
I know.
With Hillary Clinton, it's even weirder to me.
Yes,
it's even weirder to me, but they do.
But that is really goofy and bonkers that a YouTube video is now functioning basically as a weird Kiwi Farms thread, and a lot of them are too afraid to come over here, and they're visibly exposing what they're doing anyways. So people get to just watch the weird... Oh, sorry. Throat. They get to watch the weird-ass conspiracy theories form on the spot while watching us.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sink Drinker says, start making fun of Democrats and let's see if the Kiwis that are
Then they turn around.
Oh, these guys aren't so bad. You know, these guys are actually pretty
I kind of liked that comment about Hillary Clinton. That was okay.
It's funny.
No, they won't.
They won't, but it's a funny idea.
No, what they would do is they would take a clip of it out of context and go, "These are the people that you want to listen to." No, that's what they would do. Like I said, I'm all too familiar with the format. I had so many people who fed into the Gamergate shit when we were around the Newground guys. A lot of them were falling for it for a while. A lot of them snapped out of it. A few of them kind of held it down. I know what this stuff looks like already. I know where this shit comes from. Once again, somebody on 8chan seriously thought that we were so connected to these things that we should be over there as like moderators.
Well, you.
Me.
They didn't know. They probably didn't know I existed.
No, it's true. They always lump us together as one person, and usually it's my end getting communication. I remember you had people from LA like insisting that they wanted to be close to you, but literally just never ever contacted you. It would always be my own end.
That's one of the things that frustrates me the most.
Really, that?
Yeah.
Okay.
When people are like, "Oh, I always loved your work" or something, and then I'm like, "Why did you not talk to me for like all this time?" People coming out with a gun doesn't make me angry.
Okay.
Or did I say frustrated?
Frustrated.
Frustrated is, I would say, less than angry.
Okay.
But you could argue the semantics if you want to. But yes, it annoys me when people are like, "Oh, I loved your work," and then I'm like, "You're clearly lying. You don't know anything about any of my stuff."
They better leave Salty alone. Hey, Kiwi Farms, you better leave Salty alone.
Yeah,
he's on your side.
Yeah.
Give me back my hat. And he puts on a MAGA hat.
Yeah. I can picture it really easily. The last... No, I mean, we can't do anything to stop that anyway. Streisand effect. There says there's somebody named Streisand effect that you I guess want to ban on your website. But I don't know. You could go back and look at that later.
It's funny.
You don't need them to report it,
no,
right?
I don't really care. It's obvious. Any new account today is obvious, but also with that's funny if they're trying to say, we're trying to get the video taken down. When? I didn't try to get the video taken down. Oh, sorry. Is it getting the video taken down when we're talking about it as it's happening and everyone's freaking the fuck out during the process? That's not trying to get the video taken down. I'm acknowledging it. That's why I said, I think this is a little unfamiliar. When somebody is willing to acknowledge it live on the spot and they don't actually feel shame in what was spoken about, and rather what they're getting into is, here's part of the problem and why a lot of this happened to everybody else too. A lot of what we were dealing with at the time, maybe I got cut out of the video, but I did talk about the audience pressures too. Once again, Chris wouldn't have been behaving the way that he was if it weren't for the fact that there was all this audience pressure. Especially if you're going to be, you know, like, sending shout-outs over to Kiwi Farms on occasion. Yeah, you're going to get that, and you're going to have to sort of fear that to a degree. They're going to turn on you if you're not giving them what you want. So what they want. I said what he wants. He wants some of this, probably, but at the same time, I know it's out of a lot of the pressures, too. And it goes for Aaron. It goes for all of them. Everybody was mixed up in all of this, too. That's why I know a lot of people were kind of afraid to even address it all when it was happening, and it was a little bit easier to just kind of let the damages be done and just try to move ahead from it. Some of them have had to be dealing with that for years. But, yeah, when you're trying to villainize somebody, seriously, just because they spoke about the experiences they had, it really shows where you're at, too, because that doesn't have enough to really go with outside of just, what a bad friend. Talking about how they got hurt. Those two ideas also don't really marry together. It's not logical, but maybe the secret really was in the macaroni and cheese. In fact, I think I saw the kiwi bird in the hallway right now. He was popping up and down, and he was
It's a kiwi.
he had this little hang glider that he was wearing.
I'm very sorry that this is how things turned out. I wonder if you would have done better in life without me, but you keep saying no, yeah. But you wouldn't have gotten wrapped up in this if you hadn't.
They don't even seem to fucking know what the Streisand effect even means. Barbara Streisand tried to get a bunch of things taken down online and couldn't do it. I didn't try to get the video taken down. We're acknowledging the video openly and also saying that we don't really care about what was said in it because ultimately all of it was true anyhow. And even through it, it's chopped down heavily. And that's why someone going, well, I got the whole thing. No, I wonder why you didn't post that one then. If it's supposed to be like all these gotchas, there's no gotchas to be found. You think that fucking macaroni and cheese is a conspiracy now? These people are fucking bonkers. But that's not surprising. We've had talks about how bonkers they got. You guys have gotten to witness it through our streams over the years. That's why someone's showing up with Streisand effect as a name. Yeah, it reminds me of like Second Life trolling. When I was like 16 years old watching people do that kind of thing on there, that they would show up with a name where it's like gaping asshole resident. And then they would be wearing an avatar of someone looking like just disgusting. And that they're making farting noises. And it's like, gee, I wonder if that person's here to cause trouble. If anything, this is really wacky right now that we have kind of two things happening at the moment. We're making it pretty clear that we don't even have an issue with people knowing about these things. We've talked about it for ages. You're slow on the draw. While simultaneously, like, getting into an argument in a space where you know we can't respond to it. You're afraid to bring it here. You need to keep it in a YouTube comment section because it's easier to convince strangers when you can't watch this in real time and see how fucking stupid it looks. And once again, if I'm supposed to be in a position of feeling bad for all this right now, I'm not going to feel bad for the fact that I talked about the things that we've already talked about that impacted everybody here. No. You want it to be something worse than it is. Things happened, they were bad, it wasn't good, and there's no reason people should have to be dishonest about what's happening just because a bunch of people are going to threaten them otherwise. This was the problem to begin with. A lot of these creators on YouTube feel really insecure and try to court this kind of thing because they don't want to be threatened too. We are living in a timeline where a threat isn't just a threat anymore either. No, you could have someone coming out to your place with a gun, once again. Oh no, are we getting raided too? Oh man.
We'll see. I mean, we don't know if it's a bad thing or not. That's why I'm saying, like, don't necessarily just assume that everybody coming in is a bad person today.
That's true.
There's a likelihood of it.
There's a very strong likelihood of it. It's okay, I'm chill. Okay. You got a Chikorita. I trust you.
I like Chikorita.
Yeah, I like Chikorita.
Please don't betray me, Chikorita.
Yeah, please don't kill me.
I picked you for Legends ZA.
Please don't show up at my house with a gun, Chikorita.
Yeah,
it's in their mouth.
Yeah.
They use razor leaf to knock the door down. Now, there's a thing going on. There's always been a thing going on, but particularly because I talked about some stuff last night on stream about the experiences we went through, which, by the way, total retread of the streams that we did back.
I would not say that you're the cause of this.
I know.
This is from that Twitter thread.
Yeah.
And even then, that person was trying to be positive.
No, they were trying to be positive.
That's why
people lashed out.
Yes, that's what got people mad.
Seeing that people might be on our side with something gets people really angry. It's why the uploader of the video was deleting any positive comments, too. That's why you have to insist hugbox when you're literally in a YouTube comment section, hugbox at the moment, thinking that macaroni and cheese is a conspiracy.
You don't know that. Yeah, we haven't seen this, like, macaroni and cheese stuff.
I guess that's true.
We don't know if anybody else
brought it up in the chat, but maybe...
It did sound... You're sticking to it because it sounds funny. It is funny to imagine that somebody was really upset about the macaroni and cheese. Oh, well, it's about time for me to wrap up.
You want to go a bit longer? I feel like we probably should, right?
We could if you want to, but I don't know. It's not like we can like get like a good mood going again or something like that.
No.
Like end on a high note or something.
No. We could just switch it back over to the website because they're all going over there right now.
I guess you're saying you want to address this issue.
More so.
You can if you want to.
Everyone's going to be throwing their vision onto it. It at least gives people an opportunity to also look over at us live on the spot, being able to even just showcase.
You can if you want to.
That this is not matching up with what a lot of other people are trying to make it into.
But yeah, if you're going to do that, then I'll probably still wrap up because I am very tired from the day's work.
Okay. Well, just give us a bit here. We'll switch over to the website. Julian does keep VODs and everything on Twitch as well. You guys can.
I'll certainly be leaving this one.
Oh, absolutely, because yeah, they're gonna try to chop.
In the past, if something came up, if I had to explain that I had a problem, I usually had to take the video down. But now I don't have to. I'm gonna look at this as a positive for right now until somebody actually tries to attack us again.
Is going to happen. I will say this: it's going to happen.
Well, never mind then.
We got through it though the first time.
Because they fucked up. Because they did a bad job.
But we're also kind of prepped and ready to know what that sort of looks like too. But we'll switch over to the website. We'll still talk about this stuff. A lot of eyes on us right now, and if anything, yeah, we're willing to talk to people about it. That's why everybody who's like living in that comment section right now, feel free to come over to the website. You already have been. Once again, it's really blatant and really obvious. You guys aren't sneaky. It's why we knew about this immediately too. It's why the account names are obvious and people over on the website are calling it out too. Yeah, you want to get us hurt because we got hurt. And we weren't supposed to express that we got hurt. It's evil and bad and poor practice to
what
say
are you, Amber Heard? Remember that one? I was talking earlier about how everybody forgets the controversies because new stuff pops up. That was like a while ago. But victims are always to blame.
A few hundred people leave a company, but I'm pretty sure they were all wrong. Bunch of people take a stand and have evidence to post, but I think they're all wrong. People were doing that like since the 2010s and everything, and really since the beginning online. It's just it wasn't as friendable, wasn't as engaging. I guess this is a way to show people we have a website. It wasn't ready.
I mean, yeah. If you want me to get you the URL, I can get it.
Yeah,
I usually do at the end of the stream. It's just today feels weird.
But yeah, if you guys want to get angry, I mean, we'll move our way over there.
Okay.
Sorry that the dev stream had to be impacted by this tonight. At least you're still able to get some work done. I'm still gonna be working on Bippy stuff later myself too. Maybe I can be.
You could work it on the website.
While we're doing the stream, I could just be working on it in the back. I'll have to be careful with it, just because...
There's that thing where you blur the screen or whatever. Well, I can't find...
It's because also the 3D could probably impact it.
Oh.
Because of how...
yeah, that it's intensive to have to run OBS and everything.
So I can work on some of that while we're...
Okay, so I'll say my usual spiel here. Should I give all the... I guess I might as well. It doesn't matter. People are going to fuck with us whether or not...
Yeah, I would say just copy and paste the link. It's okay.
If you liked what you saw here today and you want to support us so that we can continue to make the art that we want to make, please consider supporting the WanWan Patreon at patreon.com.
Wow, it's like nothing happened today.
/WanWanGames. Where we post updates on what we've been up to. You can see old concept art and stuff like that. You can see gold level posts where DD talks about his game design process and programming and things for people who pay a little bit more. You can play demos of the game when they're ready to go. We've already done this a couple of times now.
Yeah, and we already have some games out too that you can go play. They're all free.
And if you want to support here on Twitch, a subscription gets you emotes that you can use anywhere on the site. You also get access to VODs, such as this one, which will be saved for later. Twitch does delete them after 2 months, but they're there for the time being. If you want to watch us play video games, or you want to come and see DD's new stream right now, you can come to his website that he set up earlier this year at live.dingdongvg.net. If you want to watch me play video games on my own, you can come over to Jules J Star on both Twitch and YouTube. They're both the same stream. It just gets simultaneously casted to both. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on notifications, you don't want to get algorithms getting in the way and changing what you're seeing, put this URL, dingdongvg.net/RSS/feed.xml, put that into your favorite RSS feed reader. And I think that's it. Okay. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
We'll be over on the website. And by the way, don't be surprised if they try to make now comment section over here messy while we're off. If you haven't noticed, they like to hover in the places that we're not looking at because they feel like they're sneaking in like a blow when they're not. But we will be over on the website. So just stay tuned. It'll be in a bit here. We just got to get set up over on that. Live.dingdongvg.net.
I'm sorry to everybody for whom this was like unpleasant.
Yeah, if this was uncomfortable, I'm sorry for that too. By design, it's supposed to be.
It's been uncomfortable for us for years.
Yes, for almost a decade. If anything, you guys are just kind of getting exposed to what was happening the whole time. We were trying to be fairly quiet about it, even though we would still on occasion be able to talk about these things. Most of the stuff that was talked about, like I said on the stream last night, is just the same things that were talked about like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like literally the exact same things. But if you guys remember, that's why that got turned into a problem too. We have never really been given a lot of room to just be able to, you know, kind of continue on. And we're going to try to as best as we can. But we'll be over there in a bit. We can see you guys over there. Thank you guys for coming by tonight. We're going to keep doing things anyways. We'll keep doing what we want.
I mean, we don't have any other options
no,
anyway.
We don't. And once again, this has happened to us enough times now that no, it's not going to pressure us into like disappearing ourselves, which I think is what they're hoping for right now too. But it's not going to happen this time around. That's why, who knows, we might have the incident about what just happened a year and a half ago with some crazed audience members showing up. I guess we'll just see.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep doing the best that we can. We want you guys to keep doing the best that you can. It's a really rough time in the world right now. We want you guys to be able to be safe yourself. And something I'll bring up too is anyone did donate. Remember, it's over on the website actually, the links button has a contact form.
Yes, so that if you want a refund, you can ask for it.
Just give us the name you used.
Give us as much information as you can about your donation.
Yeah.
Your email, like you said, the time helps us a lot.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing. How much, the exact number is also helpful. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, we're panicking all right. Oh no. The stream ended at the scheduled time that Julian ends these streams.
No, just leave it alone. Don't even bother validating.
It's because MetaJ said it. Yeah, MetaJ, don't sweat it either. I get it. They're
gonna say all kinds of things.
They're gonna say the stupidest things imaginable. They're gonna say whatever they need.
People can just say whatever they want.
Yeah.
The nice thing is that also means we can say whatever we want.
We can also say whatever we want too, like this.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah, take care, everybody. We'll see you in a bit.